a collaboration with ESPA, and some changes to vehicle camo netting. All this and more as we dive into the Update 36.2 patch report. First up, Miramar is getting a visit from the K-pop group ESPA. All across the Badlands, you'll find concert venues, decor, and other visuals based on the group. Many other maps have ESPA visuals, such as themed care packages and planes as well. There's also an emote stage on the starting island of every 8x8 map for you to perform some of their most iconic tracks, including their latest hit. Next up, vehicle camo netting is seeing a durability improvement and is being added to Rondo and Taego this update as well. The improved durability only applies to bullet damage, and there are still some conditions in which the netting is instantly destroyed, so check out the patch notes for full details. The clan system is also getting some love. There are new ways to show off your achievements, including a new weekly ranking page, along with new clan tag plates. Full details in the patch notes. There's also a new Survivor Pass. Regions with duo mode can now choose one-man duo in normal and ranked. And we've tackled some bugs, so be sure to check out the patch notes for details on everything. Update 36.2 is here, so park the car in a safe spot and get ready to rock out with ESPA. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
Have you ever imagined creating your own PUBG game mode? Well, now with UGC Alpha, that imagination becomes real. All Plus users can create UGC Alpha sessions. Getting started is simple. Just go to Custom Match, UGC Alpha tab, then create your own session or join a friend's. By default, only the host can edit the mode, but editing permission can be granted to participants through settings. With UGC Alpha, you can place props, build custom maps, and set your own game rules. Anyone can join and play, up to 100 players per session. Want a simple but challenging parkour mode? Or maybe a chaotic deathmatch? You make the rules. You can save your creations anytime, or load them up later to keep building, even if it's not your mode. If you find a fun session while playing, just hit Save As and keep a copy for yourself. Need a head start? Try one of the official sample modes provided in-game. In the next video, we'll dive into object placement, movement controls, and how to bring your map to life. You can use the standard WASD keys to walk around. Double-tap the spacebar to switch to flying mode. Tap C to descend and space again to go up. Hit B to enter build mode. Now you can start placing props and devices anywhere on the map. To open the full editor, press P to launch the Edit Manager. Here, you'll see all available props, from walls and stairs to full buildings. Click any object, then press 0 to 9 to assign it to a quick slot. You can now press that key to place the object instantly. Need to fine-tune? Use E and R to rotate or scale. Use F and G to adjust distance. Press X to lock to axes, and Y to ignore collision. Want to test gravity? Just hit T to toggle gravity on your object. You can also copy, delete, or multi-select with simple mouse clicks and hotkeys. Next up, we'll show you how to set the rules of your game. Rounds, respawns, teams, you control it all. Let's dive into the rules setting. Press P to open the Edit Manager, then switch to the Rule Set tab. Here, you can fully customize your game logic. Set the number of rounds. Choose a score limit or time limit to end each round. Define how many teams play, anywhere from 2 to 100. Set team size, 1 to 10 players per team. Enable or disable respawn, and set its cooldown timer. Add invincibility after respawn for smoother gameplay. By enabling fill test players, you can spawn dummy bots to test whether your custom mode is functioning properly. If you'd like to play a solo game instead of a team match, simply adjust the team count and team size settings in the rule setting menu. For example, if you want a 100-player free-for-all solo match, set team count to 100 and team size to 1. Next up, we'll introduce the devices.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Welcome everyone to yet another PUBG Players Cup here at the PUBG Players Tour. My name is once again Cameron Davis, joined by once again Mr. Good Old Chunks. We are here for another exciting weekend. We just closed the Super Cup last weekend and we're back for another round, another leg of this circuit, this time in attempt for qualification for the next Masters coming up. Chunks, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm annoyed, though, that I missed out on the last Super Cup. It was a shame I couldn't make it, but it was awesome to watch. Rock ending up taking it, but it was close up at the top end of things. Team Mirror were only slightly behind, but now we start all over again, and this time it's going for that Masters, which, as we mentioned every single time, has an even bigger prize pool than that Super Cup.
Yeah, and we're getting towards the end of the year, so, as far, you want to argue, and I would like to argue, I hope that I can argue that like each Masters is as important as the next. Like just because you're the best team in the world at the beginning of the year doesn't make it less best team in the world as the one that's at the end of the year. However, this is towards the end of the season, and there is something a little extra special about being the best towards the end when we come towards like the better, bigger Masters. Same thing with the PGC at the end of the year. But here is the schedule, not the schedule, apologies, the format for qualification. We had scrims this past week. They qualified for this weekend. Top 8 from this weekend is going to qualify to the next Masters. Then we start over again next weekend. So hit exclamation point register if you want to get involved then. You can still, it's going to be 2 weekends of cups to qualify. We're starting here. We're starting now for one of the final legs of this entire yearly circuit.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of things now, as you mentioned. It's one of the final opportunities to get signed up and get yourself involved. And look, if you don't have much time to play a full set of comp games, you're in luck, because there's only 4 being played each evening. We're starting out on Miramar, wrapping up on Erangel. The same will go for tomorrow. So we keep things snappy, but make sure you're prepared if you want to sign up for that Masters, because that's going to be a best of 6 each night, and it is not going to be easy with some of the best teams in the region.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And we do want to, I believe we're looking at, what are we looking at here? Okay,
Looking
qualified
at the
teams.
teams.
Yep, absolutely. Looking at the teams that we were playing, there are a couple of big names missing. Not only do we have some teams that are, of course, traveling overseas to play at EWC, but a couple of other regular teams are not playing this weekend. Looking at Alcatia, Luminosity, and then, of course, there's Falcons, Liquid, Toyo, and Rocky Sports who are playing over at EWC. We do expect them to return for the next cup next weekend for qualification to Masters 3, but that means that it's a really big opening for some of the I guess, less experienced teams to kind of get a qualification in when it's a less challenging roster. We know Mira are going to qualify. We know Furia are going to qualify. It's a bit 50-50 for 55, though, thinking about it further. And but like for a team like 4HP, FN, DM, like, you know, we saw them qualify to the Super Cup. Can they do it again? This would be the easier weekend for them to do it, if I'm being honest.
But just like we saw some teams that have already qualified, we've got some teams that haven't. Look at Ravenclaw, NIN, teams that I don't recognize, so we'll see how they're able to perform this evening. And it's not just for the Masters qualification, remember. There's $400 for first place, $300 for second, $200 for third, and $100 for fourth. So let's see how many hundreds Mira are going to be taking home this evening.
I'm going to guess 4, but it could be 3. You know, stranger things have happened, and we have seen dips in their performance. They're not like constantly at the top, but if you guys are new viewers, trust me on this, look at Team Mira. Do we say that they dominate? I don't know if I would go that far, but they are routinely very, very good in every single one of these Players Tour events that we've seen, certainly in the past couple of months.
Yeah, what I would say is when they have a bad game, it's still a really good game. Right. When they have a bad set of days, it's still a really good set of days. So yeah, I would say that they dominate. Not constantly, but the majority of the time, they are the ones at the top end of the leaderboard, and they're the ones that everyone wants to watch. And, you know, they've made roster changes throughout the season, which is interesting, because typically when you see roster changes, it sometimes impacts the team's performance, but absolutely not the case with Team Mira. But let's hop into game number 1 of the evening, starting out over on Miramar on a pretty friendly plane path to kick things off.
Yeah, this is nice. This is a really good plane path, a really good welcome to the field. Is that a new plane? It's an ESPA plane. I don't know why I haven't seen that before. But we do also want to clue you guys in. We have another points format adjustment. As you know, the past couple of events has been 5 points for the win, still 1 point per kill. We're doing a little bit of an adjustment. We are going back to 10 points for a win here at this Players Cup, but it will then bump down to 5th place for second, then 4th, then for all the way down to 6th place gets 1 point. So, you know, it's a bit tighter at the top still. You don't get placement points until you're 6th place, whereas previously it was 8th place, but it's at least a little more forgiving. You do get more placement points. Placement is more valuable now than it was even just last weekend.
Absolutely. I do want to talk for a second, though, about Bestia. They're a team that put up a decent performance over in the Super Cup, and they've been a little bit... I want to say, I don't want to be too harsh, but they've been a little bit disappointing so far in the Players Tour. They have shown signs of life, but for a squad of that level, they really haven't been performing as well as you maybe expect. It looks like they've kept the roster changes. Yeah, I'm just going to talk over these early game fights and deaths that are coming through because it's the Players Tour. We get this mayhem early on. But as we hop on board with Bestia, this is an interesting one. So mine was out in the previous weeks, and that's where in 1 week Sneak Attack took over, Flood took over. It looks like he's now playing with the squad again. So I want to see how the roster changes for Bestia are able to affect the team, because they have really been feast or famine depending on the roster that they're playing with.
Yeah, and actually Flood's not out. Silly Mode, which is one of, you know, Flood's alternative names, if I'm, you know, not mistaken, is with Bestia right now. So they are still going through adjustments, even with Mime back in on the roster for this weekend, or at least for this day. That doesn't mean that everything is stable, everything is static. I do want to touch on all of those kills early game that we did just witness. It was a lot of teams landing next to each other and fighting for vehicles, fighting for initial drop spots, a couple of kills here and there. And with the northern plane path that we saw, I think most of the fighting was actually towards the north where this circle was. So we'll see if that creates an impact for the teams that usually would have a really good initial position. More kills going on. This is insane. This is wild. Yeah, Chunks, I know you said this happens in the early game. It definitely happened a lot once people got used to the meta of only 5 points for the victory. The kill points were weighted that much higher. That's been dropped down a little bit, the ratio of kill points to placement points. But also, I think it has more to do with the fact that these teams, you need a couple of games to get used to where everyone is.
Yeah, there's not a huge amount of odd review you can do unless you're one of those teams that's maybe coming in and you're taking into account all of these top-level teams that we're seeing week in, week out. If you're a squad that has a lot of experience, you're not sure how these new teams that slot in each week are going to affect things, then yeah, you do have to play a little bit more kind of guessing in day number 1, but Posa, he's closing in. NIN, they've taken a casualty, but they haven't... Oh, I spoke too soon. They have been able to find the flush onto it, so Posa just closing in. He's going to try and get this kill as Kawazine with the seat swap will find a second as well.
Really? Oh, what a spray from Kawazine. This is insane. Furia coming in with a vengeance. We've missed them from the Players Tour for the past couple of weeks, and they are rolling up like absolute demons, absolute monsters. Like, yeah, we didn't give much weight to some of their early kills because we thought it was just going to be a fight over a vehicle. Haha, I ran you over. Anyway, we're going to play as 3. No, like, these teams are going absolutely rabid at each other. Do they know about the points change? I mean, a kill's a kill no matter what, but this is something insane.
Ooh, nice shots coming out there from Phil. Yeah, I'm not going to say that one. But the NIM player still left standing. Not for long by the looks of things, because Fury, they are just swarming in. They've spotted him out. Posa finishes off the job, and that's 4 kills early on for Furia in a very strong position to rotate forward, but they're going to need to make it quickly because so many teams have those high priority positions. On the other side of things, though, Team Mirror, 55 Esports, both taking an engagement. Haven, lucky to make it out of that one alive with that 55 player up on the hillside with a pretty much open angle to him.
Mirror's starting pretty early. Revive coming in for them, so they are going to be able to maintain as 4. But Fury are right on the other side of this. This is a fight that's not even in the zone. I didn't quite catch if one team was trying to gatekeep the other. But now that Arnzera and Psycho, last 2 remaining, they're going to be looking for an opportunity to retreat. Fakesin's going to try and send some shots through. They look like they're close. They're not able to get the knock, not able to get too much damage there. But still, 55, are they going to try? Do they have any blue chips? Can they get any revives going into the late game? Or are they going to have to just play this one out? A bit of a salvage attempt.
I think the blue chips were too close to Team Mirror. I don't think they're really going to be able to get those blue chips unless they rotate back. With Furia nearby as well, I don't think it's very likely. I am quickly going to touch on it. I've touched on it a lot through the Players Tour so far, so this is the one time I'm going to say it today. We are playing in third person. What you see the spectators, the observers spectating, is what the players are seeing. So if we're in third person when we're watching them, it means the players are playing in third person. If we go first person, it means the players are playing in first person. It can be a little bit confusing when you're watching these TPP tournaments, but we want to tell you that is exactly what the players are seeing, and sometimes you will see situations where a player may opt to go into first person when they're taking a fight or something.
Yeah, oftentimes when you see that happens, it's because they're inside a building. You don't want to, like, the doors and the walls, and sometimes that can make it a little confusing when you're trying to swing around corners. There are some instances that first person camera can be advantageous, but ooh, NL right now getting parachuted on. But wait, how do they lose 1? Great grab by the Bandits here. It looked like, oh no, that was because a totally different team. There are so many teams here. I got my wires crossed. But are Bandits aware? Well, they are now. Martin tries to light him up, lands it with a final headshot, and they do start to strike.
I think this was smart. I think this was really smart from NL right there. They didn't take the shots on the parachuting players. They knew there was a player inside this compound. They just let Bandits finish off the job, do the work that they needed to do. As Martin trying to find that nade to confirm the flush, HVIT will be finished off by Faravero. So NL now starting to surround, and you've got to imagine that Bandits had the read that there were players down here, because obviously they were parachuting. They would have been able to see.
Yeah. Smoke up on the corner. Sukihiro is trying to look for a peek. Drop of another grenade just to see what they can get flushed out. BZ pushing them back, pushing them into the building. But Bandits aren't peeking anymore. They're surrounded. This is a really good approach by NL. Granted, taking advantage of the distraction by the lone player from the other team down below. Let's see how well they can follow through with this one.
Rivero trying to connect, but he can't make anything out of it. Martin knows there's a player in there now. The nade, it was close, but the wall just providing enough safety. Maybe through the door, this could be powerful, but no, it bounces off the edge. Flashbang's getting ready to come in. You can tell that NL want to get aggressive onto this. They want to make the push, but the smoke's just providing that cover. No Lego. No info right now.
More grenades up. Bandits trying to return fire. Banking that one off the corner. The trajectory was in the right direction, but also opting to re-smoke the entrance. Really just keeping NL guessing, though. A huge shot onto Andy. He's going to knock him down and force them to use the first aid kit. Kills are now coming through. The push is coming through. A lot of knocks. A couple of kills favoring NL in this engagement. Andy's going to try and go big. Cook grenade sends it in. Now rushing out in the open, going to be caught in a crossfire, and that is going to be the annihilation of the Bandits. One knock onto Faravero, but that should be an easy enough revive, and I don't think Zhang are in a position to climb all the way up that hill to punish this fight in time.
Certainly trying, though. You saw that player creeping up, so they might be able to get a third party at the same time. There's other squads also starting to get involved as Samcro in a little bit of trouble. Looks like no way. They can see Ravenclaw down the hill. This compound is pretty hard to get angles on. If you want to take this fight, you really have to try and crash it. That appears to be exactly what they're going to do, though. Hopping into the vehicles. Nothing found onto one, but they've got the read on two. Lionel trying his best to find something, but he just gets third-partied by Samcro, playing that anchor position, preventing Lionel from pushing. Nade comes out from Cammy, but it's not going to be able to connect because DNL finishes the job off first.
A bit.
Nice nade, Cammy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. All me. But yeah, this is a wild send by No Way. I'm surprised none of them got caught out on the way down. You expected them to lose at least one. It was a bit of a Hail Mary play for this position, but they seem to be making it work. Took out the first player, slowly making their way through, but they know that the fight is still ahead of them. Staying together, playing for trades. And then swing around the side. A nice bit of a pre-fire there by Cherry Blossom, but it doesn't matter. Lopez is going to be better with the shots. An attempt of a trade. But they're being overwhelmed, and even with the pre-fire once again, Ravenclaw get eliminated. No way. With the exclamation and the victory of the fight.
Nicely done. 4 points early on. They're inside the circle, but it has hard shifted over to the west, so it's put teams like Furia, who have high ground with nobody around them and a lot of open space, in a very good position to try and prevent rotations. Bestia, they're just posted up over at the crossroads, looking all around. Compound will be clear as Flood made a little bit solo in this spot. He's heard shots from all around, just looking to try and find some players, get those early game kill points. You got to remember, sure, we're on a slightly different point system, but these players, they've adapted to a point system now. You got to wonder how much they're going to be able to adapt back when they're just going to keep putting the pressure on, farming those kill points, or when they are going to maybe slow it down and worry about placement a little bit more, because only the top 6 get any placement points now.
Yeah. It is definitely a lot more like the previous placement point system than... Okay, I say the twice previous than the most recent. So,
Super.
Yeah, it's closer to the original Super, established from 2019 on. And I do think that because they've been playing it for so many years before bumping into the blip that was the 5 points for a win, I think that it shouldn't be that difficult. But certainly for at least like the first day here at the Super Cup, we could see some teething and some decisions being, like subconscious decision being made. But right now, Demostro surrounded by 4 Happy Men's. 4 Happy Men's, a team that quite a few of us here on the broadcast have wanted to see them go a bit more aggressive, a bit earlier on. And this could be an opportunity for them to sort of get their lips wet. What? There's a phrase, their teeth wet? What am I thinking?
I have no idea, if I'm completely honest, but what I will say is it looks like 4HP, playing with a slightly different roster. JMS, as always, want to open things up. Kira snuck into the compound, managed to find the flush. Deportivo now down to just a solo in the form of Zello far down to the south. Spoke about Furia's position earlier, but they do need to be careful with RNZ. Rotating nearby, Kawazine and his teammate working to try and find an angle onto the vehicle. And maybe 55 were able to get the blue chip because he's going straight for that res beacon.
You gotta at least smoke it. This one's so out in the open.
It's a solo too.
Oh, you're right. Erangel lost their other teammate. They're not even going for the blue chip, though. They're just going for safety now. Drop their car. Not a bad gambit, actually. Leaving a car behind at a blue chip. That's going to make people guessing. Could find an opportunity for maybe a kill or so, but it looks like Furia have their...
Oh, no, they've seen
yeah,
him.
they know exactly where he is. Still in the zone, but just barely as phase 3 hard shifts down to the southeast. We are going to be focusing up on this El Azahar trench that we are all oh so familiar with. AKA coming in from the southeast. They're getting their own revive action happening on the truck stop. Let's see where 4HP move, where Bestia want to move, but like so many teams coming in from the north, this could be a very concentrated split on the north side of that trench.
Over on the east, though, potentially dangerous, also making their rotate in. So many shots from teams all around as the rotation path's bound to happen. A lot of strong positions, but a few and far between over on this eastern side, so no way. Look to take the fight up against potentially dangerous Samcro. Nearly makes it over to safety, but Tony is there to finish off the job. Gabri looking out. Not able to find anything. It's Tony just sweeping. Will find the flush. Should hit the player. On the other side of the smoke, he's got a teammate to trade with as Nightavon tries to crash in. It doesn't work out. DNL now giving away the position, but PD don't have the read. The flashbang gives him the opportunity to move away. PD should be able to find the revive if they stick it quickly. They're so unsure about where this player is, and now Z Lopez up on the off angle might be able to cause a bit of a headache as DNL know the vehicle just blocks the shots, tries to turn around, is able to take down one, but Glock trades it out. Tony trying to find another, but Lopez cleans up, and PD not dangerous anymore.
No way, absolutely fantastic in that fight. They're, you know, they lost a couple of players. I don't know if they're going to get a revive on that second down player. They might just be down to 2 with the blue coming in onto them. But what an amazing fight. What an amazing stall out for what was PD's first strong initial strike. But through the smoke, DNL kept them guessing just long enough for Lopez to find the follow-up angle. But now back on the Zingano's Esports shots on Demira. Not able to find another knock. And this is outside of the zone. NL now all in one vehicle, sending it in from the north. No one immediately in front of them, but they got a little bit of a ways to go before they themselves are inside the next zone. The blue right at their back. There's not that much time for them to stop and scout too much, though they can do so for a brief second on this hill.
What will they find, though? There's a team posted up ahead. This team Mirror find a little bit of damage on to Zonganos player. Can't finish off the job. RNZ, he might be finished here, but he's got a shotgun. So it all depends on this nade from Kawazine. If he can cook it right, land it inside, that'll be the end of him, but it bounces off. Lands outside, looks for another. Let's land it quickly. RNZ somehow still alive, but the Molotov connects, followed by a headshot. It's actually Gazira that finishes off the job. 55 down in 12th, as players now going to be coming back into the fight from the res beacons.
Delayed drop by both of them, both Demastro and Samcro. That's at least one more player up for No Way. Didn't see exactly how many it was total for them. Could be 3, could be 4. They were also, the Skittles on the map are all so close to each other. But Furia, 5 kills for them. Very active in the early game. Haven't been able to do too much since then. They've created so much space for themselves on that northwest side. No one's been able to really come close. But now they're potentially posting up a fight against a couple of different squads for Happy Men's. 1 kill on the board for them right now. Coming from the southwest, spread over the field, but Infinity, yeah, this is FN. Prepping against a potential push by Furia. We'll see how aggressive Furia want to go. They could easily just use that hillside to kind of bound to the south of them. But we'll see, who knows, maybe they are a bit bloodthirsty still.
Someone in chat just pointed something out as well. How many NA players are in this lobby today, Cammy? I think it's only mine, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you might be... No. 4 Happy Men's, I believe, or an NA team.
Oh, okay. never mind. But still,
not
the
many.
South American dominance, we spoke about it a few times, haven't we?
Yeah.
You know, throughout the season, and how, you know, in that Brutally Honest a while back, Curdy was saying, yeah, the South American teams are really making everyone step up their game. And I think that's really being demonstrated when you look at the teams that have actually managed to qualify here for the Players Cup. Zangarnos, we saw them really far off to the north. They are going dead center right now. It's a bold play. They're going to need to wipe out at least one squad to find any form of safety, because this is such an open position. All it takes is for Mira to decide to push out of this compound, and they're surrounded from three sides. Ooh. There's Nezera with the arm shot, takes down Kawazine. Kira looking to try and find out Deportivo.
Well, that's one way to do it. For Happy Men's, though, they're kind of trying to do a similar test right now. Nice spray comes in from Nyx, gonna knock onto Zello, but still, that's more members of DM that have come right below the defensive position of two members of For Happy Men split. They like these splits, and they often do lose a couple of players because of it. We'll see if they can change that pattern here, as we see AKA and Bestia completely light up the kill feed. Actually, a bit of support from Bestia onto For Happy Men's as Demonstro goes down to Bestia. Yeah, indeed, Deportivo Melo are eliminated. Split between For Happy Men's and Bestia, but now AKA that fight against No Way. No Way are finally starting to lose some members. They've had a really good run of this match so far. Sometimes they can just get to be a little bit too much.
And AKA are in a really good position to try and farm up some of these kills now, as D1 just getting torn apart by Team Mira, only with one player left up as the circle gets ready to pop. He's got himself a dip, but I can't imagine that'll provide much cover, and it does not. Down go D1. Out in 10th position. Team Mirror, they can now play that dip that they just used to take someone out. It's a potential entrance into the zone. As Dudu Gladiator looks to take out a player in the zone, but it's the blue zone that ends up winning. AKA now should have a relatively safe entry. They just need to be cautious of Bestia if they opt to play this hillside up to the north. On the other side of things, though, Zangarnos just about able to get the revive.
Ooh. Yeah, Zanganos are holding on. They're holding on. I'm not going to give it a grade. They are holding on. They lost one player, I believe, to Furia. They got a revive on the second at least. But they need to really try and defend the tide of Furia, the rage of the Panthers, in order to hold that position. And Nell also fighting from the south right next to For Happy Men's. And Team Mira has 6 kills for them so far. Looking to deal further damage onto AKA, but they're not the only ones to do so. I think Bestia are also supporting, trying to take out that angle. AKA are not looking good here. They might just want to deny to the blue. I know it's early on to say that, but to break out of this position is looking quite impossible.
Boy, Bestia just have an angle onto AKA as well. They were so worried about Team Mira, but it's actually DraftKing who's able to get the knock. Haven will be able to find the flush onto one. So they now switch their attention, knowing it's only a solo. They need to make sure that they have themselves a safe entrance into the zone. Fisher from No Lego just sending it up inside of that bus. The rest of the team now starting to catch up. In comes the nade from LFP. That could be detrimental as Kazira barely able to make it. Just about goes down to the blue. At least not giving away a point, but that leaves only 2 players now left up for Furia. As Kawazine preps a flash. He knows exactly where that player is. The Panzer. Will it work? I'm unsure about this. If these players split up a little bit more flashes being found as AKA fall down in 8th. Not quite in placement point territory, but we're starting to get close as Kraken throws in the frags. Will find a lot of damage, looks for the headshot and quickly finds it for nothing down in 7th. And now, with this new point system, we are now in the placement points.
Yeah, Furia they had to take care of FN before they could really put some pressure onto Zhang. So maybe we'll see if they can do better now. They basically cleared out that entire space. Mira, look at how much space that they are taking. Good widespread along this little moat, this little valley. Fakes all the way on the south now. Sending some shots towards NL, who are all hiding in one singular shack. One grenade would take care of that. It's just about getting close enough to throw it in. Fakes loses the helmet. That's not a great feeling.
Still better than the feeling of getting knocked. Managed to hit the deck just in time to remain alive. As now, the Lego looking over towards Team Mira. Martin finds a little bit of damage, but he knew that nade was being prepped and quickly moved back.
More grenades. We're eventually going to run out of them. Oh, Fisher self-knocks a teammate. Bit of an overcooked grenade coming in from the north. Mime also with a nice angle. They're slowly going to be making their way up. The shield up just in time to avoid that. The revive is coming in, but how much longer can they weather the storm? Haven has gotten so close, but no grenades, no mollies, not even a blue zone kit at this range. All they have is a gun. People are swinging out, Panzerfaust being one of them. It's gonna miss, and it's gonna be Mira with 10 kills, eliminating NL.
That is one of those situations where you hope you have a BZ nade. I know for me, I will sometimes prioritize a BZ more than I will smokes if I'm limited for space in the backpack, because you can just clear out a shack like that. In this scenario, the frag grenade put in work, and they were just waiting for those players to push outside. Bestia sneaking up down on the south note now, trying to find an angle over towards Team Mirror, but being cautious because they know that out on the east was where they previously spotted them. They know there's at least a couple of players up over at that shack, but I don't think they know quite how many. Over on the west, things should slow down, and I gotta say, that play from Zangarnos earlier to go dead center in the dip early on, it might have worked out because everyone seems so hesitant to peek each other that it almost means there's no pressure being applied to them.
That's gotta change soon, though. We got a little bit over a minute before Phase 6 closes. And that the separation of all the teams is gonna have to stop. Listen. I won't accept any slander about my country's education system. All I will say is that we do kind of prove it ourselves.
There's a reason we created the language, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. Team Mirror.
You didn't create it as you did smash like 5 other languages together and said, aha, look at what came out.
Sorry, I shouldn't say created. Perfected. Fakeson starting to move around up to the north now. Moving away from Bestia. Trying to get a little bit of safety. Looking to group up with the rest of the team for the time being.
15 seconds left. DraftKings now grouping up with the rest of Bestia as everyone's just getting ready for the next signal flare to be fired off. I am a bit surprised that Furia haven't made much more. Well, okay, never mind. Maybe they do something that I didn't, because Furia are basically in the perfect position right now. They do need to make sure they don't overextend, but they're in a great spot at the moment to take some scalps of teams who are going to be pushing their way into the zone. But Mira and Bestia might be looking to fight each other first. That might not be a bad strategy, a bad idea. It could give an opportunity for a more isolated one team versus one team fight. And Mira, having already lost one player, 3 versus 4, this still could be the best fight they can have. Grenades come out. No knocks for them just yet. But will Bestia continue to pressure up this hill?
I like what Fakeson did there. He was going to throw the nade, realised he only had one left, decided he'd save it. Kawazine, a nice headshot onto JMS, but can't find that final bullet to finish off the job. First aid kit now has been popped, but it's all for nothing, because Kawazine's still able to find an angle. Furious, 7 kills. If they can finish off 4 HP, that rounds it up to 10, which is a point threshold that already we've seen a couple of teams in this game be able to reach. So really impressive to see teams get so aggressive so early on. It's 4 HP. Backs on the blue. Will be forced to make a move. Bestia a little bit distracted by Mira, but now they switch their attention and 4 HP might be able to punish.
Shots. Nyx would have gonna want to have another chance at it. Mime, nice little spray. Was that even a mistake? Maybe stopping at the cactus was all the plan all along, but there are going to be shots coming in. Now Mira with the angle. Vinny's gone down. Mime can't really push the bus all the way up and over. Using it for cover, not a bad idea, but they still put themselves in a really rough position. 4 Happy Mens do go down. More kills go the way of Furia. Top 4 have been decided, and Mira getting into one vehicle, about to send their way down the hill, but Bestia is lightening the load for them, getting quite a few kills onto Zong. Actually, it's the full elimination of them. 8 kills for Bestia. What's that, 10 for Mira, looking like 10 for Furia. A lot of heavy hitters in the final 3 of this round.
Mine time is back, baby. He just took out Zanganos with a huge set of knots, a beautifully placed nade, and that takes Bestia up to 8 kill points. As Fana now causing problems for Team Furia, is able to take down Kraken, leaves them now as a solo. Kawazine, the final player left up, but he's never one to write off. Team Mirror, though, 12 kills. Fakes in, has been lit up. Haven repositions to try and provide some support. Spots out Flood, but didn't see just how close Vinny was going to be. He might get lucky if that nade bounces and rolls down the hill, but it's too little too late as Fakes in eliminated now by Vinny. They're going to look for the res, but with only 2 players up, maybe you just commit onto defending this fight for the time being.
At the very least, Haven was looking to make sure that Bestia weren't going to try and rush them from the low ground. A nice little knock onto Silly Mode, but Fakeson still goes down, still gets confirmed with a grenade. So the revive won't be possible. Mirror still have 2, and with Kawazen, the lone player of Furia on the southwest, it is not a done deal for Bestia. BZ's come in. This could stall the revive onto Silly Mode, but I don't think they go far enough.
Just a tiny gap between them. As Bestia now will be back up to a 4. Much to Mirror's dismay. 12 kills though already on the board. I think anything that they're able to grab here is just going to be a huge bonus for the team that at this point is always expected to be our lobby leaders. Fana tries to find the spray. Over towards Kawazine, finds a little bit of damage, but he can't finish off the job. It's actually Vinny who does so and takes Bestia into the double-digit kills. So regardless of who wins, it's going to be a hell of a lot of points for him.
But remember, with the new points change, there are fewer replacement points overall, but this is the largest jump of one position to the next. 5-point jump from second to first, so that is a lot more points on the line here, especially compared to last weekend. Another knock goes the way of Mira. That's the out of play for now, but it's still a player advantage for Bestia. Haven's trying to use the smoke to swing below, but I believe it was spotted by Flood, by Silly Mode. Gonna be another adjustment of position, expecting the low ground play by Mira. Stuns come out, wait for the push, spray comes out, doesn't find the knock.
Really nice damage, but he can't convert it over. Fana certainly can, though. Takes down a second from Bestia. Vinny will fall, followed by Flood, and Team Mirror taking the 2v4 down to a 2v1. DraftKing, though, the final player, will get the jump on things. Tries to land the spray, but it's not enough as Fana clutches out, and it's Team Mirror with a ridiculous 16-kill win in a 2v4 situation, somehow able to make it happen.
We told you guys that Mira is the team to watch in the Players Tour, and they come out swinging in match number 1 of this cup, of the first cup of the first match of the first cup of the leg for qualification into Masters 3. And they weren't even the team that started off the hottest. It was Furia that was making the biggest waves in the beginning. But man, that final 2 versus 4, Mira do such a good job of team fighting. It's insane, and as you said at the beginning, even with the roster moves, that doesn't seem to affect their chemistry and their fight strategizing at all.
I think there's a certain point when roster moves really start to have an impact. Sometimes just changing one player here or there doesn't have a huge impact, but I think the reason we focused in on it so much with Team Mirror in particular is just because of how powerful Kawazine was as a player. He was consistently at the top of the leaderboard in terms of kills, in terms of damage. He was the player who was picking up the most points every single day that he played. Now he's on Furia. They've even taken a step up of their own. He was putting in work for them as well. So I think, yeah, Mirror, they lost a really strong player. I don't think that's kind of lowered them down. I think, if anything, the roster moves have just elevated Furia as well, and that was really nicely replicated in our endgame situation.
They're always just so quick on the shots. So a quick look at these final shots. Look, they didn't even have the advantage. Fana still came out on top. Sure, they had a teammate. Who knows? Maybe a couple of extra bullets came in from the teammate to win that fight, but still, Team Mira, 16-kill victory there. Not a bad round for Bestia. They might be feeling a certain kind of way about losing that 4 versus 2 at the end, but still, 10 kills, 15 points. That is still a nice game to be proud of. Put themselves on the board in a really big way.
Absolutely, and for so early on to see a leaderboard like this is what you'd expect after 2 or 3 matches right now in terms of the number of points up at the top end of things.
Right.
But when you look down at the bottom end, it all makes sense. So many points were sponged up by those top squads, so really exciting for our next 3 games this evening. It's going to be a good watch.
Yeah, I mean, remember, we got a couple more points to play with once again, so the numbers could be looking a little more elevated, a little more greater, bigger, I don't know. I'm really struggling with words today, Chunks. This is a problem, but
It's been a long week, don't worry.
Yeah, it absolutely has been. But, like, you know, if for people like myself that have been a bit used to the 5 points for the win, you know, got to get used to the new system. Back to 10 points is going to put a lot more, not a lot, but it's going to put a few more points on the board.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. Remember, this is the last opportunity, one of the last opportunities, I should say, to get involved in that Masters. So before we go to a break, well, we got a couple of minutes, make sure you do ! Register in chat and get yourself signed up. But we're going to be back in just a couple of minutes with game number 2.
A collaboration with Espa, and some changes to vehicle camo netting. All this and more as we dive into the update 36.2 patch report. First up, Miramar is getting a visit from the K-pop group Espa. All across the Badlands, you'll find concert venues, decor, and other visuals based on the group. Many other maps have Espa visuals, such as themed care packages and planes as well. There's also an emote stage on the starting island of every 8x8 map for you to perform some of their most iconic tracks, including their latest hit. Next up, vehicle camo netting is seeing a durability improvement and is being added to Rondo and Taego this update as well. The improved durability only applies to bullet damage, and there are still some conditions in which the netting is instantly destroyed, so check out the patch notes for full details. The clan system is also getting some love. There are new ways to show off your achievements, including a new weekly ranking page, along with new clan tag plates. Full details in the patch notes. There's also a new survivor pass. Regions with duo mode can now choose one-man duo in normal and ranked, and we've tackled some bugs, so be sure to check out the patch notes for details on everything. Update 36.2 is here, so park the car in a safe spot and get ready to rock out with Espa. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
Welcome back, everyone. We were here for game number 2. If you missed it in game number 1, Mira came out with an amazing game. And when you hear me say that, don't worry. This is live. This is not a VOD. Mira just happened to do that routinely. Can they do it again in game number 2, though, Chunks? Because look at this playing path. This one's a bit less, shall we say, nice than game number 1.
They're all like fighting in circles, and I think that based on the playing path and how far away they're dropping, yeah, I think they can. I think they get aggressive early on. Probably, never say never, but it's probably going to end up going up to the north. So if it does, I'm interested to see how bridge camps are affected, because look at how many teams are going down to the southeast here.
Look at how many teams are on the north! What do you mean, the southeast?
Look at how many teams are going to fishing camp.
Yeah, what is
this? I say southeast of the playing path, sorry, yeah. Fishing camp as well, so it's hot drop central right now. 4 HP, they're going to lose one early. Down goes Delirious. They might be able to run back and grab the blue chip, but for right now, it's no way that have themselves a point on the board and a lot more teams to deal with here.
Dude, shout out to Lopez for the throwback jacket there. One of the original Esports skins, all the way from 2017. But yeah, this circle is going to go to the north. Well, okay. Could go down to the south. Then we'll be in a very interesting game, but it is already starting off interesting. I thought that the early game fighting that we saw scattered around in Miramar was because it was the first game. These teams, you know, where does everyone drop? Haha, we got to figure this stuff out, right? No, they seem, I don't know. Guys, do you guys know that you have more placement points? It's not all about kill points anymore. I mean, it's still a lot about kill points, but they're just, why is everyone hot dropping still? This is wild.
This is something we saw early on in the Players Tour, especially on Taego, where teams would just always hot drop. But the thing that is really surprising to me is that no team has attempted to go Palace here, which is, you know, in a circle like this, the strongest position to grab. You can loot it so quickly. There's vehicles you can get to rotate out. Sure, there's a risk that a team like 55 could move in and third party. I mean, we've seen how Palace third parties can go if anyone watched at PNC a couple of weeks back. So it's still a little surprising to me, but I'm sure when Al-Qudsiyah are back in the lobby, that will soon change again.
Yeah, remember that we're missing a couple of big teams, not just the ones that are at EWC, but a couple of extra ones as well. And even though that does mean that their drop spots are free, like, for example, on Miramar, Power Grid was free because Luminosity weren't here. Do you really want to, as good of a position as it is, do you want to try and like relearn a brand new position just for one weekend of games? It's sort of a, not a risk, but it's a sacrifice that you would have to make if you were to go that way.
I mean, some of these teams might be making a sacrifice with these hot drops, though. As Martin going to be holding the staircase with the shotgun, hoping that someone peeks one at a time. There's 2 rounds in the chamber, and all it takes is one to take a player down. No way already have a kill point on the boards. They're certainly feeling confident, but Martin's got to be a little bit shaky as a solo right now.
And there is an entire third team just off screen or off minimap from these two squads squaring up against each other. So this could get back to a very chaotic fight once things do start to break out again. NL and No Way getting very intermixed with each other here. I don't know who has like an advantage. I want to say NL do just because of the spread and the potential crossfire, but No Way all grouped up. If they just push one to the other, well, it doesn't matter. Farvero had the angle. Going to take advantage. The revive should come in. But how does Martin play off of that? Oh, Fisher had a great follow-up angle.
Beautifully done right now from No Luck. Certainly all skill today from them. Martin waiting. Shotgun and the ace. It's a decent combo, but that flashbang could cause problems. Manages to dodge it just about. There's 2 shotguns waiting for him. Finds one, switches over to the ace, moving back.
Oh, great grenade.
Just bought him some time with that frag as well, so now he can reload the shotgun as well, and No Luck. Able to clean things up more likely than not. It's a 4 versus 1, and it's a shotgun jump shot that finishes off the job. Sukihiro finds the kill, and that's 4 on the board for No Lego.
Well done. First knock into the next, into the stairwell hold, into the follow-up push. Get the full team ace there. 1 kill apiece. And the team that was offset of that hot drop, they had left. They're trying to go to the zone. So it's basically open season for No Lego to get their loot on. Though a couple other teams are rotating around them, just as we see 55 now rotating into the zone across the river. No one is banking on it going towards the south. It's possible, but it's not probable. So really, if you have an opportunity, make your way onto the island to the north. You're gonna have a better go of things going forward into phase 2 and beyond. Most likely.
Looks like potentially dangerous all the way on the southeast. They're going to be using that E pickup to make their rotate in. Definitely always interesting seeing how teams approach that E pickup, because you are vulnerable when you're parachuting down. All seen that before, as I'm not sure exactly what happened there with Sololzi, but D1 going to loot his body. Not sure, maybe did he disconnect and they're trying to grab his blue chip, or did someone take him out? Because there's not really anyone around there. There was a red zone, but surely we would have seen that in the kill feed.
Yeah, not quite sure. Bit of glider
Here's
play.
the glider.
Yep, bit of glider play coming
We were
up.
waiting for it.
Though low on HP already. I think the BRDM kind of instilled a sense of agency in the teams on the ground, where they see a vehicle, just shoot it. Just shoot it. Like, eventually it'll go down.
I mean, especially
maybe not
the
from
glider.
you, but just shoot it.
See, the glider's one of those where, sure, it doesn't have a lot of health, but you can land it pretty smoothly. If you can catch that player in a position where they are kind of forced to land somewhere around you, then it could end up being a free point. I mean, that thing's smoking. It's pretty much done. There goes the engine, right on cue. Is HVIT now going to be forced down? Potentially dangerous. Choose to drop down from that E pickup. There's barrel rolls coming out from HVIT here. Really going to try and stick this landing. Maybe just trying to grab a last bit of info before he hops in the vehicle and makes a move.
Luckily, landing next to their own team. So no risk of landing in enemy territory and being taken captive and tortured for information. And oh wait, wrong game. Can't do that here in PUBG just yet, unfortunately. Imagine if they gave that.
I'd love to see that, especially with the all chat feature.
Oh yeah. No, the other games that have the mechanic of if you find an enemy, there's interaction that it reveals the other teammates.
Oh, I like it. I thought you meant literally being able to take someone hostage, but I guess you can if you get a knock. Or trap someone in your vehicle or something, interrogate them for information, figure out where the team are.
Not in this game, unfortunately, but what is in this game are a couple of teams that are all trying to fight for Kodak. Potentially dangerous are here. We have DM on the southeast. We got the Ravens coming in from the north.
Ravenclaw looking out for PD. I've got to assume this is going to be taken as bandits. Team that had the glider trouble. They've got themselves compound. They do need to be careful of D1 rotating around. That's the team that was shooting at the glider, remember? So they know that it's landed around here. They probably know that the player's inside of this compound. They're not fully committing onto it. They're not certain of quite how many players are in here. I'm not sure whether they were aware of the rotations as Guzira takes down Aki. Finishes off the job. First point on the board for Furia. Sure, many more to follow if last game is to be believed. As Tony finds out Studio, but it's actually Furia that get a second one as they steal that away.
Yeah, frustrating steal coming out from that. Gabriel was knocked by the Ravens, which is why they made to go that send, only getting caught in the back by Furia. So just unlucky timing, at the very least. Tony's going to go ahead and steal that vehicle, pull it back in, save the tires. And there's going to be a red zone on Kodak, or at least towards the east. Couldn't be too worried about that, though. So the last few members of Ravenclaw, well, they probably want to be a bit more careful with their movements now, since they're down to 2.
I'm a little bit surprised that so many teams have committed to this town so early on. I tend to believe that when it comes to a city, if you drop there and it's dead center circle, yeah, post up somewhere, try and prevent people rotating in. But otherwise, you want to rotate in almost as late as possible, because otherwise you end up in a situation like this where you cut out a zone, and now you have to deal with, what, 2 other teams that are also going to be making the same move. Potentially Dangerous will try and deal with things as they open up with the rotation, trying to pinch Ravenclaw. Now looking out. He'll try and find a little bit of damage. Not able to convert it, but Glock now closing in. Might be able to catch.
Panzer misses, but Nidavon is there. Get the knock, but it's all down to Cherry Blossoms. The swing on the side is going to get the job done. Potentially dangerous with the revive. Getting all 4 up. So those 2 knocks were crucial for them to have the timing to go for basically a rush down on the remaining members of Ravenclaw to then make the remaining moves needed to get into the zone, as they were, as Chung said, were cut off. But now looking in the east, Bestia and Lego rotating around each other. DM off into the distance. Shots come out. DraftKings not able to get the knock on Avaro Rivero.
Bestia trying to find the spray. Sorry about that. I had a coughing fit and then my internet cut out. Things are just not going great for me today.
Odd.
As DraftKings now looking down. But no Lego. Needs to be cautious of that player up the top as well. Silly mode, aka Flood. Going to be playing prone, holding the wall. Just trying his best to find an angle. Throws out a nade. Looks like he knows where Suke Hero is. So the damage has already been found. That's going to be enough to finish off the job. Nicely done. There's no Lego. Down to, I believe, just Martin left up, and he's all the way up on the east on the hill. Sorry, Fisher is still in it. But it looks like Mime has his number as well.
Well done so far by Bestia. Only 1 point on the board from this round. But the way that they're approaching this game, it looks like we might be looking at a new Bestia, one that can reliably deliver points. Couldn't say the same about them in the past. Bit of hot and cold performances by them previously. But if they can keep up the momentum that they established from game number 1, it could be a really good weekend for them. Barbaro does get confirmed. Should be the second kill point for them. DM trying to send some shots into some other rotating players. Now Fish has gone down. Monster's looking to steal this.
Ooh. Nice shot out of the vehicle over onto Nando. That finds 2 kill points for AKA. They hold a relatively strong position, but they've still got Furia up the hill to deal with. The red zone will have that little unknown factor, but another thing that could work to Furia's benefits here is we are on Taego. You got that destructible terrain, which means that they might actually find themselves some extra dips of cover to work with if they decide to make this push over onto AKA.
Oh, some shots coming out from Kraken. Danshin goes down. Really good approach. Kraken get into a vehicle. They're going to go for the send. I imagine so. It's basically an isolated fight, at least for the next couple of seconds. Though, seeing some activity coming in from the west.
Wow. What a shift.
Yeah, that's
hard
brutal.
to the south. 55 Mirror, they are happy with this one, but all those teams that committed to Godok early, yep, they're probably regretting their decision now. Stick on board with Furia, because they might not be aware that there's going to be a team sneaking up behind them. And Infinite, if he spots out Kawazine, it's likely going to be the end of him. But for now, playing the ridge will provide safety. As 4 HP rotate through, Furia might be taking a fight on three fronts.
Yeah. Spotting Kira. Another instance of 4 HP. One member rotating way too far ahead of the rest. There's no possible follow-up, and now 4-0 has a second chance. Vehicle tilted just the way to avoid the shots. So Kira, lucky to get out of that one alive, I have to say. But Furia now disregarding those teams to the north because they got to get into the zone. They know that there's a wounded AKA in front of them. But I think they're quite split up. There's only 2 members here. The other third player, a lone member, and now Dudu Gladiator is actually just trying to avoid this send.
Focuses on popping the first aid, and DZNate focuses on popping Sweeney. Takes him out. Caught with a flash. Frag's close. Spots him out on the cross, though. Really nicely done. One more bullet will do it. And that's really smart. Just waited for MHP to burn through all his ammo. So he wasn't able to make anything happen. AKA, solo player, taking a stand and leaving only 1 player left up over on the west to deal with. as he's kind of saved out on the east as Furia. They're coming under pressure from the north. They're just going to be forced to play in this dip for nothing. Infinite trying to find the Kira. Has he been spotted? Yes, he has. Can he find the kill? Yes, he can.
Surely not.
HP lose one as for nothing. Surely that's the end of things. Pulls out the nade to try and find the flush, but it's not going to be found.
Man. Gotta imagine Kira should have had that. Should be able to get revived. Of course, unless BZNA comes in to steal that. Frag at the ready. I don't know if that one's going to go far enough. It looks like it might. Yeah, it seemed to be enough. 5 kills for that one solo player of AKA. Now the last player left. Checking back in with potentially dangerous. 2 kills on the board for them from this round. Nice little knock by Tony onto a rotating DM. No Ran gets confirmed, but a couple more DM players around the area ready to trade things out. Potential drive-by, not going to land. PD are holding their own here.
Tony, 4th kill point on the board for PD. Looking to make it 5 as Gabri finds the shots. Looks for the flush with the nade. I don't think it's too likely that DM are able to find the revive. Might be able to find a kill out of it if Bandits have something to say, though. That's not to be the case. We're looking to try and find this final player. As Andy spots him out, he's going to throw the BZ onto the rock, but Demostro moves just in time. Yai able to find it. Will he go for the revive, or is he aware of PD? Seems like he knows PD are pushing through, but his teammate has gone for the send to try and pick up that final player. AKA, they've used a respawn beacon, and I don't think it's going to be for much luck here. So that final player just parachuting in, trying to find info. Team Mirror, Furia, and 55 all around each other. Some of the strongest teams in the lobby, almost destined to fight now.
Unsurprising phase 4 shift all the way from water to the northeast. Really good position for Zhang. But yeah, the lone returning member of AKA. Gonna be a real struggle to find loot. Good information found, but that has to call into question, are they just giving another point up on the board? We'll see what they can do. We'll see what NIN can do. Coming in with an E pickup. Already in the blue, and it's late enough in the game, but that's going to really start to add up. Hopefully they should get out of it in a couple of moments' time, but that is going to mean that they're going to be lower HP when they do land. And I don't think there's anywhere safe that they can land without being contested even slightly.
D1. 2 players left up. Looking to try and find the final from AKA. So many teams, scrappy rotations on the west. I should point out, Doodoo Gladiator is rotating in from the blue now. I need to stop and grab some meds as NIN, they're just going to completely send it with the E pickup down onto Zangarnos. User no found, up on the roof. Will he find the angle? No, he can't. 2 kills on the board now for Zangarnos. 1 traded out by iTrider, but it's just not enough as NIN send it down, and it all falls apart on the other side of things, though. Potentially dangerous team that I was concerned about rotating in. They're just going to completely send it at the same time. Miradew, so Zangarnos now taking a fight on 2 fronts. Third party coming in from Bestia to take down 1 from potentially dangerous. Leaves only Gabri left up. Going to try and go for the heal. This might be his saving grace. Team Mirror are clearing through. They might think that this player is not there. Glock tries to run away. Fizura, the final player for Zangarnos.
Oh, surely.
Almost find the kill onto 1, but Fana jumps out the window, runs away, calls it out to his teammate, using the push for cover. Well, he tries to go for the heal. Haven, he just found an angle, or did he? No, he's getting found by Vinny. Fana taken down by Vinny now, as Bestie is just third party and doing so much damage, and they're starting to get involved.
Ooh, Gabriel's now rushing forward. Fana does go down, gets confirmed. This looked like it should have been a complete overwhelm by Mira, but just the way that the chips fell, the way that the dominoes fell, and now it's being on the side!
Oh no.
Vizier with another one, confirms it into the 5th kill for Zangarnos Esports. Things are continuing to stay very, very messy, and now Bestia are here. I know that this is a strong compound, but I didn't expect teams to just send it one at a time. One more, what's another? Let's get another one in here. Potentially Dangerous do get eliminated. Zong actually outlasts them. But now Mira versus Bestia, the 2 big hitters in this compound.
What a fight. What a crash. And what a play from that final player for Zangarnos. It's a shame. I think it was Fana who he threw the nade in, immediately looked away thinking, that'll clear it, not that'll cause the player to push out, and he got punished for it. LFP trying to Molotov to prevent the peak. It looks like Mira, they want to try and focus this, but Bestia are causing the problems as they try to jump out the window. Haven trying his best to pre-fire. That P90 so deadly at close range, has the read, will be able to find the kill. We're into the top 7, so one more team to make it into placement points as 4 HP fall. We are now in that position. Mime knows where Fakes is. Needs to be careful with the peaks because the rest of Mirror are moving over to his left. Might be able to find an angle, but with beautiful headshots like that, he eliminates the threat, but they are all out of util.
I don't know what Mime did when he was on this break, but he's been back with a vengeance. Insane shots on Miramar and once again on Taego. Potential revive coming in from LFP. But it's going to take a quick second to catch Mime out. Bestia was trying to overtake some space on the back of that knock. Mime could also get revived on their own, though. And Bit Spray comes out from DraftKing. A follow-up grenade does finally remove the raid boss that is Mime. Still, though, leaves it a 3v3, assuming the revive does lock in from Mira. But that's not quite a fair assumption yet, with Bestia's pressure still looking as hot as it is.
Don't forget the Panzer either. Might not be needed if the nade connects. Not quite going to be enough. As Vinny, it's a hell of a way to clear out a room. Needs to land it before he gets shot. He hears the footsteps. He just try and bank it off the doorway. No, he won't. He goes straight for him. Takes down Haven, but eliminated in return. So it's down to a 2v2. Flood tries to find the cross grenade. Not able to connect. The smoke's there providing safety. DraftKing will call this out to the squad as LFP preps the nade. Either looking for the flush or looking for the kill. He spotted out DraftKing and finds the damage to go with it. Bestia 5 kills on the board, but as Vinny gets closed out, we already know what Team Mirror are able to do with only 2 players left up, but only 3 bullets left in the gun for LFP. He's forced to switch over to the Mini. Preps the flashbang to try and defend. Tries to spam.
What is going on?
Both players are whipping. DraftKing moves over to the Mark 14 and finishes off the job, but barely. Team Mirror now, they're back up to a 2. They found themselves the revive. Fakesing gets taken down, but somehow Silly Mode, aka Flood, cleaning up the job. Furia fall as well. And now, compare this Final 4 to the leaderboard at the end of last game, and you gotta think things are destined to change.
We'll see. Bestia are still in there. The one consistent top 4 team so far. But I don't know how they're alive. I don't know how they were able to make that work. I think they got like 3 kills fully blind on the end there. Absolutely insane hold against Mira. Looking at the rest of the lobby now. Bandits tried to send a Panzer all the way to 55. 5 kills for 55 so far. They came out previous game with 0. So any point is that much more valuable for them to start chasing a higher position on the total leaderboard.
And it's just hugging this ridge for cover. It's always difficult playing as a 3-man. But I think a lot of teams are used to it when you get into these endgame scenarios. It's just those early game fights that it feels like are a lot more difficult. Martin, using the bush for cover. Needs to hope he doesn't get spotted out by 55, but he might just have managed to hide it. Unless Psycho spots those legs poking out the back. Rax certainly hasn't, though. I think they're just so focused on what's ahead of them. They're not so concerned about what's behind.
We'll see if that comes to punish them later on in the game. Especially with as spread out as they are. If Martin gets a knock, very likely to be able to convert it into a kill, especially looking at Psycho. And I think Martin's going to be crawling that way. Seeing an opportunity for one more final point. Get the 5th on the board for them. And now hiding behind a shack could continue to take this fight. A total distraction by 55. Carrick makes sure to turn around. A nice shot to make sure that they don't get pushed while they focus on this one solo. Utilities coming on in. Dealing some good damage. How much more damage can Martin do? The blue zone and the Molotov. I don't think they're going to be able to survive, but Art and Zara and Pippa are rushing forward just to confirm it all. Martin does go down, but still, reducing 55 to 3. It's going to make their chicken dinner hopes just slightly more difficult.
Still, though, there's no team with more players than them as it stands.
True.
There's no other team with an AWM. So see what Karak's able to do. Wasn't able to get into position to support his teammates. Too focused. Trying to do damage onto bandits. And we saw just how close he came to getting the knock. And they need to try and close into the circle now as he finds damage onto the player in the vehicle and finds a second as well. And he goes down out of the car. Check his hard drive. What is going on here? Nobody hits shots like that. Well, Karak certainly can.
Listen, I am over my team complaining about not having good scope for their weapons. He's doing this with a 3x. Granted, we're not all as skilled as Garrick is, but the point still stands. What amazing shots with subpar weaponry attachments. Bandits still pushing forward, out in the open. Might have gone under the nose. Karak is looking to save the remaining few shots, but they also have to make their way into the zone. Bandits now caught between Bestia and 55. Gotta worry about all angles. And there's only 2 of them as well. Very limited on cover. This is a very sketchy position for them to try and hold out, and even just temporarily.
HBIT finds the knock onto RNT. Can he find a second? Yes, he can. 55 Esports. The team that had the player advantage earlier on just being torn apart, but DraftKings, he's doing what he can to third party. Now it's a 2v1v1. Flood tries to close in, lands a little bit of damage, but he can't convert it over with the nade. Bestia, a really strong performance. One more bullet onto that player in the vehicle would have finished off the job. It's 55 Esports repositioning Pippa. Are going to try and get themselves the res. Rest of Bestia now start to close in. It's only a 2-man. They need to be wary of how they approach this fight. Now it is going to be a 2v2 up against 55, but they've got the read onto 1, gets the knock onto Pippa, finds the final player. It's actually HVIT that finishes off the job, so that's 55 Esports on 3 kills, and HVIT, well, he's happy with 7.
Tonight at the end, already in the blue. 10-kill victory nonetheless for Bestia. They might have got it stolen from them last game by Mira, but they get the chicken dinner on attempt number 2. 20 points for them. Adding into the 15 from game number 1, they are on a really good streak at the beginning of this Players Cup.
Yeah, really, really good start to things. Consistently making it to the top 4, 2 games in a row, both times with huge numbers of kills, but this time able to clean it up, because ultimately, if you're in a 2v4 against Mira, it's like being in a 4v6.
It just certainly feels that way sometimes. Though Mira did go down before the end game this time around. I'm sure we're going to see some of that action in the replay once again. I got to see it again because I'm still kind of lost on how in the world that all played out. Stuns everywhere. Corner peeks everywhere.
Ah, that's what happened. He got knocked out of the boat earlier. I was wondering.
Ah, yeah, that would do it.
And yeah, that was rough from Gabri right there. Throwing the nade in and not checking in case someone jumped out. That was rough.
Yeah, this. What's happening? What's happening?
It's just one of those days, isn't it, Cammy? We have them sometimes, don't we, where things feel even wackier than usual in PUBG. Now, PUBG is one of those games where you always have to expect the unexpected, and here in the Players Tour, we've definitely had a lot of those where, you know, these fights don't unfold how you'd expect, and seeing 2 players spamming each other with DMRs in a shack when they're both flashbang trying to hip fire. Yeah, it's just par for the course sometimes, but Bestia, 20 points from game number 2. I'm pretty confident that will bump them up to first place overall, so potentially not going to see Mira in first place on the overall leaderboard for the first time in what feels like a while.
Ah, well. It wasn't a walk in the park
We'll
for them in the previous Super Cup, but I'm sure we're going to see them at the top, remain at the top for this whole weekend. They are just that reliable. Not quite as stacked on the upper end of things on this match leaderboard, but still a couple of teams walking away with 0, if only 1 point, looking at the bottom 5 there. But still, points overall, a bit more spread around.
Let's take a look over at the overall standings, though, and yep, it's Bestia that edge out ahead with 4 points to keep it out in first, but can they keep up that consistency? Still 2 more games to go tonight, and obviously those 4 tomorrow. But if you're a team down at the bottom, you've got to start thinking about how you change things around, because teams are getting so aggressive. They're sponging up everything at the top end of things. There is a lot of work that needs doing, and the more points those teams in the top 8 get, the more you have to gain in that final day if you're not able to gain them tonight.
Yeah, at the very least, we're back to 10 points for a chicken dinner, which means that one game could do a lot more than it did last couple of weekends on sort of final 11th hour Cinderella story runs. But you don't want to leave it up to that. We still have 2 more games tonight, 4 more games tomorrow. We're going to go to a quick break as we get that one set up. Don't go anywhere. We will be back with Rondo.
Have you ever imagined creating your own PUBG game mode? Well, now with UGC Alpha, that imagination becomes real. All Plus users can create UGC Alpha sessions. Getting started is simple. Just go to Custom Match, UGC Alpha tab, then create your own session or join a friend's. By default, only the host can edit the mode, but editing permission can be granted to participants through settings. With UGC Alpha, you can place props, build custom maps, and set your own game rules. Anyone can join and play, up to 100 players per session. Want a simple but challenging parkour mode? Or maybe a chaotic deathmatch? You make the rules. You can save your creations anytime, or load them up later to keep building, even if it's not your mode. If you find a fun session while playing, just hit Save As and keep a copy for yourself. Need a head start? Try one of the official sample modes provided in-game. In the next video, we'll dive into object placement, movement controls, and how to bring your map to life. You can use the standard WASD keys to walk around. Double-tap the spacebar to switch to flying mode. Tap C to descend and space again to go up. Hit B to enter build mode. Now you can start placing props and devices anywhere on the map. To open the full editor, press P to launch the Edit Manager. Here, you'll see all available props, from walls and stairs to full buildings. Click any object, then press 0 to 9 to assign it to a quick slot. You can now press that key to place the object instantly. Need to fine-tune? Use E and R to rotate or scale. Use F and G to adjust distance. Press X to lock to axes, and Y to ignore collision. Want to test gravity? Just hit T to toggle gravity on your object. You can also copy, delete, or multi-select with simple mouse clicks and hotkeys. Next up, we'll show you how to set the rules of your game. Rounds, respawns, teams, you control it all. Let's dive into the rules setting. Press P to open the Edit Manager, then switch to the Rule Set tab. Here, you can fully customize your game logic. Set the number of rounds. Choose a score limit or time limit to end each round. Define how many teams play, anywhere from 2 to 100. Set team size, 1 to 10 players per team. Enable or disable respawn, and set its cooldown timer. Add invincibility after respawn for smoother gameplay. By enabling fill test players, you can spawn dummy bots to test whether your custom mode is functioning properly. If you'd like to play a solo game instead of a team match, simply adjust the team count and team size settings in the rule setting menu. For example, if you want a 100-player free-for-all solo match, set team count to 100 and team size to 1. Next up, we'll introduce the devices.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Halfway through the day, but only a quarter of the way through this Players Cup. Currently, Bestia are in the lead, but not by much. Mira are right behind them, but still a second place into a first. Really good run by Bestia so far onto Rondo Trunks. Plains looking a bit in between the goodness of Miramar with the poorness of Taego. A bit down towards the south, we have to hope that maybe we'll see some Tin Long Guarded in play, maybe even a Jadena circle. One can dream.
Not unless you're a player, because they do not want that. I am certain of it. It is so hard to get into a place like that if you're the last team in, and equally, if you commit to it too early, it's so hard to get out of there. I'd love to see a really Southern Circle, though. They are always interesting to play, always interesting to watch as well. A lot of kind of areas that we don't tend to see. I don't think I've ever actually seen kind of an esports circle go down to somewhere like Long Ho. I think it's maybe a bit out of the question. I think it's most likely to go a bit more central than that, but who knows? Anything could happen. That's my pick, though, as no, we're going to go up to the center of the map, slightly to the west. We're going to Jiao Tin.
Slightly, this is quite to the west. It's nowhere near test track, and I know it's been a while since it's been only test track on Rondo. It does still like to feature a lot. But yeah, Jiao Tin dead center for Happy Men's. Going to be looting up around that area, and NL as well around the extremities of that city. Really, it's going to be the rotations that you see from the south and from the east that could become the problematic ones. I don't know how many teams are going to be doing a long rotation to come up from the north. That teams should know is going to be the most free entry-wise just because of the plane path. But, you know, you got to drive a long distance to make it there, and timing could make that problematic, especially since the teams on the far east, like Bestia and Mira, they drop towards the end of the plane path, so then they're not going to have as much time to loot before they need to start moving with the blue coming in.
We hopped on board with Bestia then, a team that have done so well in our first two games of the evening. Now going to be kind of posed with a very difficult rotate ahead of them, a long way to go. Same being said, though, for Mira, just up to the north, and just a reminder, everyone, make sure you pull up that map feed with !map. The Psycho appears to have disconnected, so hopefully he'll be able to get back in, because right now he is out in the open, and you've got to assume this is how Mira are going to rotate. Potentially could cause him a headache.
Fury have had some really good moments, especially at the start of game number 1. Hopefully this game they can start to really apply some pressure of their own against the two that are currently in the top. I don't think Fury are too far behind. You know, their kill points are there. It's just the placements that might be a little delayed at the moment, but anything can change. We're only 2 games in. There's still, still a little bit of time to really make up the difference there. And remember, it's top 8 as the primary win condition for the leaderboard position. Obviously, you want to be in the top 4 because that's where you can start to take home some money for $100 for first place. But top 8 is what qualifies you to Masters number 3, so that is going to be the number 1 goal for all the teams in the lobby this weekend.
I was a little bit surprised to see how split Fury are right now. They've sent Kraken all the way over towards potentially dangerous. He should be able to avoid them, but for a second it looked like he was going to run into them. PD, they've got themselves a compound in a pretty strong position. Should be able to catch out anyone trying to make a rotate through. Fury, though, do look to be heading the same direction, so we could see an early game fight between these two squads. As Studio focusing on popping out the tires. Now following it over to the head of Samcro, but you hear the click of the gun. Forced to reload. That might buy Samcro the time he needed to get away.
Watching the distance. There's another Ravenclaw member about to swing in, and they just crash directly onto their nose. Not a crumple to be seen on either of those vehicles, but it doesn't matter. Ravenclaw, really good assault there to get a point on the board. First kill of the game.
Nicely done from Ravenclaw. Assisting with the damage from range as DNL preps the Panzer. Just a little bit late. He's got the AUG in hand. Will hop back into the balcony after finding a little bit of damage. 8 downstairs. Also a Panzer in the hands of Ravenclaw as well, though. So the whole team prepping out frags. Trying to find something onto DNL. In comes the Panzer, and that also doesn't connect. BZ nade. to try and find the damage, but if anything, that's just going to buy him a little bit more time as the rest of the team now start to close in to provide some support. Util being used as now Cam tries to close in, does get caught with a nade, but it's not going to be enough to finish off the job. Cherry Blossom peeks, will find it, vehicle explodes, that's going to be the end of the second. Still DNL left standing as Lopez tries to get into position. He's just a little bit far away. Third person spray, manages to connect onto one, but it's not enough to finish off the job. And now, no way, with only Lopez and seemingly no way to get those blue chips because Ravenclaw have control of this compound. And they're going to try and find the damage, but they just can't connect as he's actually going to opt to pull into the other side of the road.
Yeah, maybe it's an all-for-nothing play coming out from Lopez. But still, 4 members left of Ravenclaw in this fight. No one's third-partying yet, though. There are a couple of teams around them. To check back in towards the center of the zone. Zong and PD right next to each other. This could be a repeat of the fight that we saw in the previous match. We'll see if Bestia and Mira want to crash in. And once again, though, they're nowhere near this, so probably not. But Glock and Onidavon are quite quiet. Yeah, they have no clue.
Lopez was finished off on the other side of things as Fizura able to trade out over onto Tony. Gabri, though, finishes out Nazera. Out comes the frag. Will that connect? Seemingly on the wrong side of the wall. There's 2 players left standing from Zanganos. Bolos is taken out. Gabri, too focused on what was ahead of him. Not paying enough attention to what could be behind. Fizura tries to go for the pre-fire. Heard Nightavon trying to make a push. It's a 2 versus 1. We've seen how these fights can turn quickly. Nightavon going for that staircase again, getting ready to re-peek, using that third person to peek over, trying to grab a little bit of info. Switches over to first person to take the fight, and he just about comes out on top. And in no small part, thanks to Glock, as GMO takes down one, Infinite with a second, but AKA able to trade it out finally, looking to try and get that res.
Even with the points change, teams are still ravenous for the kill points here, and why wouldn't you? That's the name of the game in a Battle Royale. Here comes Furia now. They're swinging in onto a wounded PD. Glock hasn't even gotten the revive on Nightavon yet.
Nice.
It's like they're going to have to give that one up. More utilities coming on in. I don't think Glock's going to be able to survive this assault, this affront. There is a knock onto one member of Furia. But still, it's 3 more members standing. 1 point of HP left, and let's make that 0. Potentially dangerous go down, but Deportivo Merlo now also pushing onto Ravenclaw.
They already found 1 knock onto the already weakened team as the smoke is thrown perfectly into the window to deny the line of sight, but that's not going to protect from the roof. Lucky to avoid the vehicle as well as Demostro goes for the heal. Cherry Blossom jumps in through the window. Leonel with a really nicely placed Panzer takes down Zello. Ravenclaw clawing on to this compound, trying to stay in it. Leonel falls, Aki flushed out. It's all down to Cherry Blossom. He has the read, uses that third person, spots a live round the corner, goes to the reposition, needs to try and get the heal, but he's not able to. Demostro peeks him out. Down go Ravenclaw out in 13th with 4 kills to go with it. DM, 4 kills their own, staying alive.
This is still phase 1, everyone. This is still phase 1. And it's not even like everyone's fighting over the same compound. It's not like it's an all or nothing sort of play for the center of the zone. Teams are just really committing onto fights and looking for opportunities to try and get points on the board and clear out space as early as they can. But later on in the game, that's when the real threat of third partying becomes a major, massive factor. I wonder if it has to do with the fact that the later in the game, the more likely you are to fight against a team like Furia, like Bestia, like Team Mira. And so when you're a team like Deportivo Romero, not a bad team by any stretch, but certainly in a different class, when you see a Ravenclaw in front of you, it's a bit more tantalizing of a prospect.
Wait for that circle pop now. See exactly where we're going to end up. Slightly to the east, but honestly, there's only, 4 teams that have to actually make a rotation to get into the zone? Now it becomes a question of who is happy with their current position. Mime will be able to spot out one from Team Mirror, but it's LFP providing that covering fire. Catches him with some damage in return. Mine maybe not realizing there's more players up ahead of him as the shots will come out. That Panzer could be perfect, but he's able to just about get over to safety. Now Fanna's going to send it in. In come the rest of Bestia as well. Panzer goes down, takes out DraftKing, looking for one more, but the vehicle providing safety. Flood and Mine take down one apiece. It's all onto the final player of Bestia in Mine, but it's just not enough. This Team Mirror clean up, but they are coming under pressure from 4 HP, so may end up losing players if these smokes don't go down quick enough.
Oh man, you have to imagine if 4 HP were on their guns instantly in their vehicles, they could maybe try and crash this and clean it all up, but the timing was there for a microsecond and now it's gone, so they're just going to have to continue to pepper at range. Furia now with 2 kills for themselves. Still spreading out, still taking quite a bit of space that's available for them. Kraken out just sort of scouting ahead of things. D1 also doing a similar move.
Feels like there's always a glider on this map. With the amount of, I'm trying to think of a friendly name to call them. The cliffs, could you call them? The big pointy sticks in the middle.
Yeah, sure.
Of the map, yeah. With those gliders and the EPs as well, being able to grab one of those if it's center circle, they are so powerful. Like, look around where Furia are. If you have the map feed open with exclamation point map, there is a load of high ground that teams could take here. And if you have plenty of ammo, you have an EP or a glider, if that stays center circle in the next phase, why wouldn't you take it? Think about all the kill points you can get as teams start to close in. Now, obviously, it is a bit of a war of attrition. You do have to be careful with your ammo, with your meds, not exposing yourself when it's unnecessary, but we've seen that position used to great effect.
Deportivo Melo slowly making their way into the zone. They're on the edge. And they're quite spread out themselves, but they have a lot of space. In fact, the one player, well, not the one player, one of the 2 players that isn't visible on the minimap, Noran, is all the way out to the west, looking potentially for a high ground position of their own, though can't exactly climb up those cliffs, as you so eloquently put it. But still, just find the information, looking for all the opportunities, as phase 2 is 40 seconds away from being closed, and we're on our way to phase 3.
I want to say it's a slow early game, but it really hasn't been. I think that the speed of the early game and so many teams going down early has now led things to slow down a little. Everyone is kind of feeling things out. Everyone was pretty comfortable in their spots. No one had to make major changes to position. Sure, we saw Bessie and Team Mirror scrapping it out, but I mean, Team Mirror, they've split back up again now. Feeling confident in this one. I think they probably have a read that there are 4 HP players in Joutin. They're not too focused on it. I'm quickly, for the first time, going to use this draw function. This thing, this bit of hillside up here, that's what I'm talking about. And in a circle like this, that is going to be oh so powerful. If you're able to get up there now, and you've got yourself a glider, you've got yourself plenty of ammo, you can stay up there, and as teams close in, you are just going to be farming damage and hopefully kills to go with it.
We'll see if anyone is able to get up there and stay alive up there, because high ground is great, but bullets can still go back at you. If you can see them, they can see you. But certainly, like a team putting
that position, though.
Sure, no, yeah, certainly. If a team's able to put like 1 or 2 players up there and leave 2 on the ground floor, that would be great. We'll see how it plays out going on to the game. Right now, there's a crash onto NL. Sugihiro is going to play it safe for now. They're setting a trap, and now they pounce. Now they fight. Now they swing the trap. It's 1, it's 2 knocks, looking for the 3rd.
Fighter's so much damage. Surely that nade should finish off the job, but no, it bounced a little bit wide. Faravero swings wide, finds the kill. As Nando trades it, but D1 will fall. No Lego have the compound. They should be able to get all players back into the fight, as long as no third parties come through, but let's not rule out a squad like DM, who are rotating in from the west now and eagerly looking for a position inside this zone.
Yeah, there's a reason why No Lego smoked off their down teammate and now even pulling them back into the warehouse before they go to revive. They understand how vulnerable potentially they are. Though, looking at Joutin, there's a lot of teams here. Looking at what is this, 4 teams? 4 Happy Men's are quite spread out. And we have a solo player from AKA, I believe. Yeah, solo player. The other members of AKA are down to the south, so they are scattered to the winds themselves. This is a very odd position to see them in. And then, of course, there is Infinite, who I'm this one is for sure the final player. So a couple of snakes, a couple of solos, looking for last chance saloon in Jiaotin. We'll see if 4 happy men can hold them out.
So you do have to wonder now, how does this shift? I think a lot of teams are going to imagine it goes towards Jiaotin because of that unplayable, but it's dead center in the circle, so it's going to be a tight one.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised to see no one playing that high ground just yet, but NIN have got themselves an EP, so they might opt to get up there and use that high ground, even if not to fight out of, but just to gather a little bit of info ready for that next phase when you imagine it is going to shift away.
The problem with the high ground, though, is getting off of it. You got to parachute down, and sometimes we see players, you know, even if they get a couple of kills up in that position, they then die on the way going down. But yeah, they are going to go for this play. Honestly, considering they're coming in so late, so far away from this shift, it's risky. It's not an auto-win position, but it's better than a lot of the alternatives. Though, Kali does go down, and then there's mortars set up to land on the high ground there. And
I love a mortar. And look, it's still inside the circle as well, so all those teams down on the south might have to try and navigate this now. We'll see how the mortar ends up being used as fakes in. I mean, look, we've seen Mira use these things to great effects. They're just going to scout this out now, see how effectively it lands. It's going to be a little bit short, but honestly, the whole squad have moved off of here. Gazira knocks his own teammate. Not sure what's going on there. It's not the first time we've seen it today, but I think Fury are in a position where they should be able to find the revive without a problem.
We're getting a knock and a kill on a couple of the remaining members of AKA. Deportivo Melo chasing down the penultimate member out in the open. Nanu's going to be very, very vulnerable in this position. Spray doesn't quite land on the body, but it lands on the vehicle and a headshot in passing.
Zira didn't res Kawazine. Kira. Oh, tries to finish off the job, but falls off the windowsill at the worst time. Just about able to make it happen. Gets a second kill on the board now, 4 HP, as they look to try and defend up against DM as well. We're also going to be crashing in, making the most out of the distraction, as everyone seems to be committing to Jiaotin. Only a couple of teams not inside. Nyx will find a knock. Looks converted to a flush, but Aliv able to return some fire. The nade should be good to find kill. Now we switch over to the other side of things. 4 HP. Trying to deal with Mira, and they actually get the knock onto Fakes in.
Yeah, but look how many fights that 4 happy men are taking. This is the problem of them being so spread out. Time and time again. They love to take up so much space, oftentimes too much. We'll see if it comes to punish them this time around. Big push coming up the stairs. Delarus can't even get one. Does go down. Mira get revenge for their fallen teammate. We'll see if they're able to get the revive there, but the remaining members of 4 happy men's in their own separate fights. We'll see how well they fare. Deportivo Melo now pushing in into the zone. I think Nyx is looking to crawl away from this. Things are starting to feel a little hot, especially after losing a teammate already.
Really interested to see how this southern side kicks off, as NIN using the cliffs to find the knock onto Sook. Rest of No Lego are on the other side of this cliff, so should be able to make a rotate out without exposing themselves to NIN. Then you have the concern of there's so many teams already posted up in the city. Surely somebody is going to be able to apply some pressure. I think neither of these teams really wants to get over-aggressive in terms of taking circle position, just to avoid exposing themselves to Jiaotin.
Yeah.
In 5 seconds, we're going to find out where that next phase ends up moving, and you can't imagine it's going to stay over here for much longer.
Bit of a nudge to the north, mostly center, but it's still confirming to be a Jiaotin finish. Bandits are looking really good in their central position. 55 have a good spot on the pizza wedge to the east, but all the teams on the west side, they're likely going to have to fight through each other. At least a couple of them are, to make their way into the zone. 4 happy men's especially, they're the furthest out. Infinite, last player left, a 4-0. Looks like they were able to get a knock. Certainly looking to try and confirm that, get a kill point on the board. Grenades don't do the trick yet. And AliRV is going to re-smoke that cross to try and make their way across the road. But Infinite with another grenade at the ready, looking to get another knock for them.
HVIT Finds LFP, but fakes in quick to take him down in return. We're now take control of his building. Just going to be pre-boosting. Ready for this fight. Yai, the final player left up, has the shield covering one doorway. Just listening out for those footsteps, trying to get a read of where he will be pushed from. On the other side of things, NIN and No Lego have both started kicking off down to the south. They know they're going to have to move, so why not try and get some of those kill points, because it's not going to be an easy push to make down on foot. As we switch on board, NIN, they get the player advantage, make it 2. As Faravero, the final player left standing, tries to land the spray. Just not going to be able to connect. A second smoke comes down for a little bit of extra cover. Really just hoping that third parties are going to come in from the northeast now.
And they are. A couple of shots coming out from 55, and maybe even Mira, though. I think they're just like, I think it's mostly just 55. 1v1 now. And I try and does very, very low HP. Looking for the push. Can't get the first aid kit. It's going to be Carrick with the final shot there. NL are still alive. 6 kills. But we are 3 teams away from any placement points being on the board. It's a coup and a dream. Can they make it into Chao Tin? Where Mira and Fakesin and Fana and everyone, they've taken this building. They've taken quite a few kills. And they are ready to continue scrapping from the what it looks to be dead center of the zone.
Yai? I don't think that's going to work to block off the door unless there's a balcony out there that I'm not thinking of.
He's hoping to crush Fana.
Oh, yeah, he is as well, isn't he? I like that. It's a bold play. I'm not sure whether it'll work out, but it's just that little bit of extra pressure, isn't it? For nothing, though. They're going to try and find an angle onto Nyx. They certainly do. Nearly take down Kira as well, so that was nearly 4 HP down to solo, but they do still have 2 players standing. Third looking for the res as JMS, well, he just finishes off DM with a nade.
Good job. Good hold there. The shepherding player that's in the zone. Getting the opening, and now they just need to worry about Infinite. Circle continues on the previous trajectory. Mostly center, but a little bit up towards the north. It's looking good for 55 especially. They have 2 members out on the side trying to clean up those last few remaining members. Solos down towards the south, but in the center of the zone it is still very, very threatening. Mira are pitted in. Yai's pitted in. It's really just the solos and the duo from, or rather the trio from the west that's likely to be the biggest, most likely source of action coming up into phase 6.
I imagine, yeah, he is just focused on kind of hammering down these smokes now. He's still got 2 more left to work with, just trying to prevent the push from Mira for as long as possible. For nothing. A final player made it into the top 8. Remember, it's only the top 6. They're getting placement points now. This is a difficult cross for both Infinite and 4 HP to try and make. JMS just using that third person, trying his best to cover. As the Molotov, it's well placed, but Haven's ready for it. He gets up on the ledge. Oh, he falls into the molly. That could actually be the end of him now, as he will drop down prone, tries to get the heal. Yai taken down by his own Molotov, opting to deny some points, maybe? Maybe it was misthrown. As Haven goes down, Furia look to try and get involved, but it's LFP who finds the opening knock onto Gazira. Both 4 HP have been able to get in now for nothing. Trying to do the same, but JMS posted up, waiting on the cross.
Spotted out now. Shots come through. A nice little headshot. Drops Infinite down to very, very low, and the blue is right on their back. It's going to be a difficult second leg of this cross. Going to go ahead and smoke that up. But the blue is giving me pause. And there's a gap in the smoke. Can they make it across? They're actually able to survive. But they're not out of the woods yet. They still have to make a couple more crosses before they're inside the zone, but I think they've broken contact with 4 Happy Men's. And who's to say what the remaining AKA member, what chaos they can stir.
Infinite, just trying to sneak in. Trying to see if there's an angle that can make it into without being spotted from, and it looks like he's opting to go through the buildings. DZ, laying prone. It's the final player from AKA. Infinite will fall And that gets us into the top 6, where those placement points lie. And now, it's really about waiting for the shift, seeing who has to move, who doesn't. Furia, with only 2 players left up, are really hoping that they don't have to make a cross, but equally hoping that no teams really have to cross to them, and they almost deal with each other. Team Mirror, 55, both going to be settled, so this could be good for Furia. Might be able to switch their attention over towards 4 HP. It's DZ, sorry. Just holding this angle, knows there's a 4 HP player around. The Molotov doesn't quite connect. Is Kira taken down? AKA getting a 4th kill point on the board. Much needed with only a solo left up.
DZNA. Really hard. Damn. Yeah, chat, please help us with this one. But still, good hold with the pre-fire and playing around the windowsill. Good fight won. And for Happy Men's, they get punished for being, once again, quite separated. Still, 5 kills on the board for them. They're looking better and better every single time that we see them. So, hope to continue to watch their growth through this weekend into the next. Maybe even with an attempt at a top 8 qualification, if things can continue to go their way.
I think the question now, though, for them is how do you even approach this cross? Furia repairing the helmets. Knowing that 3 gear is oh so important in the end game. 4 HP trying to make the cross, but TZ able to find an angle, still putting pressure on even as a solo. Team Mirror, they haven't committed any players to the roof, so not really going to be too much of a threat for the time being. Fakesim might be able to find an angle if he peeks back out, but smoke providing that extra safety measure. DZ, I mean, having to run across the street against the 4-man Mirror, can't really be feeling too optimistic about it for him.
You never know with an urban finish like this, even with the large crosses. That's still... Oh, okay. Don't even give me time to really ramp up the story, the narrative.
He didn't even get time to cross, like...
Yeah.
As soon as he got into the doorway, he was done. It just shows how locked in Mirror are. If they see a player, they immediately take the shots, and when you're that caliber of player, you can hit your shots like that. Yeah, it's going to be a short ride for the opposing team.
Phase 8, who's going to get favored? Stay center, which Phase 8 always does, but this is like extra special centered. So I think really the advantage is, I got to give it to 55. 4 members left standing, and the crossfire currently getting activated on top of 4 Happy Men's. As we see a fight between Mira and Furia also start to break out. Another knock on to Posa. It's just Gizera remaining, and so Mira are going to be going under the push. 4 Happy Men's are eliminated in the meantime. And so now 55 can third party this fight of Juggernauts. Gizera running away, 12 HP. Can't even take time to heal up. Just has to get behind cover. Screaming out for 55 to save him.
55 have taken care of 4 HP, and they now have full control of the north. Just waiting for Fury to get pinched. I'm a little bit surprised that 55 haven't actually tried to engage onto this one. Knowing that Mirror are going to be from the other side, potentially catch them off guard as LFP pulling out the sword off. So dangerous at close range, that final player. Poor Fury just laying prone, trying to get some safety, hoping that 55 commit onto this and start to cause some problems.
I don't know how I missed this, but Faravero is still alive. All the way from the south, the fight all the way down south, making their cross into the city, and they're still snaking behind Mira. How many more placement points can they get? Can they get any more kill points? Cleaning up this potentially huge fight between Mira and 55. Gizera, though, not quite as lucky, caught in the middle.
I mean, 55 with this player on the roof could provide a little bit of support for Gizera. Like, he is pinched, he is a solo, but can they really push him right now? The way that 55 is set up, they've got cover from all angles. I don't think they can really confidently make this cross as the emergency cover comes down. RNZ takes down LFP. So now his position's given away, and Faravero, he's actually trying to find the flush onto this, steal away that kill point, even to fall as well. So that's 2 now down for Team Mirror. looking to try and get the revive, and this is Gazira's opportunity to try and get involved. Throws out the Molotov, actually catches Fana, but should be able to survive. BZ Nade is close, but not close enough to find the flush. Faravero, having given away his position, 6 kills. Needs to try and make this cross. He spotted out one. He finds the knock as well. 55. Now you need to push. You need to get involved. Forget about Faravero. He's helping you out.
Good knock there, and Mira are reeling from all of this. One player left standing. Blue's coming in. I don't think there's going to be any time for them to get the revives. Psycho's going to confirm the kill. Don't even give Mira the thought. Going for the res there. Fana also bleeds out. Is one member remaining. It is 55 versus the world. 4v1, v1, v1. Surely it should be them cleaning it all up. But it's not done until it's over.
Still know roughly where Faravero is. You see the nade lining up as Gazira with the shotgun just waiting for that door to open. RNZ will finish off Faravero now. It's 55, 6 kills on the board. It's 2 solos. But that shotgun could be detrimental to their hopes. Molotov connecting. Gazira just hops up above the ground for a little bit of extra safety, but that BZ nade is going to do a lot of damage, and the double, well, it's going to do a hell of a lot more. Gazira goes down. It's a 4 versus 1. LFP, the final player left up, expecting 55 to push, and don't forget, that zone is closing in. They could wait him out, but they don't want to. Flashbang comes down, but it's too late as Pippa finds the headshot, finishes off the job, and it's 55 with an 8-kill chicken dinner.
Dial 55 for Brazil, dial 55 for a Rondo chicken dinner. Low on the kills, but the execution at the very end was exactly what they needed to do. Weren't that many opportunities for kills earlier on, looking at their position in Jiao Tin, but they cleaned it up when it matters most, and 18 points on the board.
Really impressive game there from 55. As he mentioned, they started off a little slower, but ultimately they made it count. 18 points on the board. After what was an interesting game, it felt like things came in waves, didn't it? It was very upbeat, fast-paced at the very beginning. Things slowed down a little bit later on, and then they just kept kicking up on and off throughout the game until a really slow-paced, well-played ending from all of those teams.
A lot of individual solo plays coming out of the city. Some really good shots. Just across the board, like just looking at the development and the increased mechanical ability of a lot of these players, some who I'm not quite familiar with, but the new blood coming into PUBG competition, especially as we talked about before, coming in from Latin America, is making this scene continue to be incredibly exciting.
Really, really strong game for them. 18 points, but it's Team Mira again with 10 kills that get themselves 15. So that might just bump them back into first. Furia also able to get some points on the board. So, I mean, let's just take a look at the overall standings and see how that affects things, because obviously Bestia not able to get any points out of that game. So that should give Mira the opportunity to retake first place. But 55, I wanted to say they're closing in, but there's still a pretty significant gap, and that just speaks to the strength of Team Mira.
It also speaks to 55 not getting that many points before this round. Again, 55 are probably one of the most regularly irregular squads that we see in America's PUBG, at least we have for the past couple of years. So a good point grab for them here, but they're still, what is that? 14 points behind. No, that's not 14. My math is terrible. 6 points behind Bestia, who themselves are 11 points behind Team Mira. With one final game remaining, we could see Mira with a massive gap going in at the halfway point. We'll see if Bestia turn things around. 0 points on Rondo for them. But still, good points from match 1 and 2. You're allowed to have 1-0.
Yeah, really impressive all around at the top end of things. And finally, the teams at the bottom starting to get themselves some points. But we've still got one more game left tonight. We're going to be back in just a couple minutes to wrap things up on Erangel.
A collaboration with Espa. And some changes to vehicle camo netting. All this and more as we dive into the update 36.2 patch report. First up, Miramar is getting a visit from the K-pop group Espa. All across the Badlands, you'll find concert venues, decor, and other visuals based on the group. Many other maps have Espa visuals, such as themed care packages and planes as well. There's also an emote stage on the starting island of every 8x8 map, for you to perform some of their most iconic tracks, including their latest hit. Next up, vehicle camo netting is seeing a durability improvement and is being added to Rondo and Taego this update as well. The improved durability only applies to bullet damage, and there are still some conditions in which the netting is instantly destroyed, so check out the patch notes for full details. The clan system is also getting some love. There are new ways to show off your achievements, including a new weekly ranking page, along with new clan tag plates. Full details in the patch notes. There's also a new Survivor Pass. Regions with duo mode can now choose one-man duo in normal and ranked. And we've tackled some bugs, so be sure to check out the patch notes for details on everything. Update 36.2 is here, so park the car in a safe spot and get ready to rock out with Espa. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
One game left. On to Erangel, and man, we were teased with a good playing path on Miramar, but it looks like it's just gone downhill from there, because what is this, Chunks? This is awful.
Give us that split circle. You know the one I'm talking about. Give us that Novo Milta power circle. That's what I want to see. I thought for a second we were going to have a bunch of teams hot dropping on Starla, but it looks like no Lego. They're going to go over to Severny instead, which is a bold one off of a playing path like this. Potentially going to see a hot drop down in Milta, though.
Why Milta? I think I don't understand the point of fighting for Milta, but I guess in this lane path, it's a value position. I also don't know why you're not just going to Milta power when you see a team dropping right around you. Both teams fighting for a vehicle / a compound. And might be losing one player if I can grab a weapon in time, but I think they're going to be safe. But yeah, here is that hot drop into play. There's another hot drop happening on C block in Sosnovka Island, a classic, a throwback hot drop position there. And I think a solo member of NIN who maybe got back to the computer a bit late is down on the southern ferry. But yep, Chunks, you get your wish.
Now we just need that hard northeast shift. Bandits, they've got themselves the opening knock on the C block fight. which in most situations would give you a player advantage. Playing as a 3-man, they didn't have it until Andy found that second knock. Nando's down as well. HVRT, well, he's got a Panzer. That final player for D1 is a little bit far away. He's got an M4. Gonna swap out his DMR over to the Mark 12 instead. Oh, sorry, they do still have 2 players. My mistake. So D1 with 2 up, and it is a 2v3 fight. So it looks like Bandit's not going to fully commit onto it just yet. It's a fairly open area to cross, and fairly open city is Milter. And it looks like no way. Going to try and find a way to finish off Zangarnos.
Risk to cross the road, but nowhere looking to increase the tempo and try and catch Zangarnos off guard. Don't let them get sort of solidified in their position. Tap shots come out. Zangarnos are trying to take the vehicle, trying to run away with it. But now the frag grenade's going to come through. This one looks good.
Oh, no. It just bounces a little bit less than expected. Lopez holding the back of that building. They've corralled Zangarnos into this position now. Azera holding that wall. Not wanting to peek. Using that third-person view to try and poke around. But Lopez, he's going to run out in the open, and he somehow doesn't get shot. The Scar, iron sights, it's rough to play with. And it's rough when you can't land your shots like that. Only a little bit of damage being found, but Nazera goes down. Trying to find a second. Samcro pushing him from the other side. Finds the headshot. Can he find the knock? No, he can't. Very trades it.
Ooh, should be able to crawl across behind the wall. No immediate threat of getting flushed, but it's a 1-for-1 exchange at the moment. Zangarnos have the defensible position, being inside the warehouse. You can Zabolo's King, using the third-person camera to peek around the side. But Nazera does get confirmed. It's going to have to be a full blue-chip revival to bring that player back into play. Round and round they go.
Lopez. Closing in. He finds one. Viri goes down. No way. The player advantage. Gonna look to try and get the res. But never rule out the red zone, Cammy. It's always when you least expect it. And it catches you off guard. Bolos finds the flush onto Samcro, but Lopez there to trade it for Zora. Tries to catch them on the cross, but not able to finish off the job. No way. They've got a red station. They should be able to make it back as a 4.
Yeah.
On the other side of things, though, Bandits, they're closing in over towards D1. They know that this squad is weakened, but they need to be cautious because potentially Dangerous have also moved in. D1, they've actually got a knock over onto Bandits, and they know where it is.
Looking to try and get a re-knock, and
oh, no.
they're able to land it. Carlos with a good angle, and that's going up, climbing up on Big Red, climbing up on Rust with the SR. That's giving me flashbacks to old school PUBG days, but I don't think D1 are aware of PD. Look at how out in the open. They're running. PD here just should be free enough shots. Deal some initial damage, but behind cover just in time, just before they re-peek and get blocked the second opportunity. Carlos gets the trade. But now Bandits on the opposite side. D1 are finding themselves in a really terrible position. Carlos on a 1 HP. Make that 0. Tony's going to finish them off.
D1 down. Bandits still up as a 3. Should be able to find the res onto Glock, so potentially Dangerous still having that player advantage. Make sure you pull up the map feed with !map, and you will see that so many squads are getting ready to cross over that eastern bridge now, so we may see fights getting ready to kick off over there sooner rather than later. And let's not forget teams like For Nothing that are all the way up in Stalva. You got to hope that they've got an emergency pickup right now.
Potentially Dangerous not throwing the game. They're completely just rushed down onto Bandits. They have time to sort of settle in, but at some point you have to imagine that more and more teams are going to show up. There's no rush to make it across to Sosnovka Island. There's always that potential of it going to the north. But you have to imagine that more teams than not are going to try and cross eventually. 55 now. Coming off of the back of a pretty good win from Rondo. Now running into Bestia, who are gatekeeping this cross here. Quick hard right should pull them out of the danger zone, but DraftKings says no.
Nicely done from DraftKings, but the third party from DM up the hill, they're going to try and get the kills out of this one. 55 forced to smoke, but it's no joy because Olivia has finished off Psycho. Only RNC left standing over at this vehicle. He's trying his best to get the res onto his team, but Carax folds as well. 55 are just getting torn apart from long range. This is really impressive shooting from DM.
This is so, I feel so bad for 55. They thought it was just Bestia who got that knock. Oh, that's, you know, really good knock for DraftKings, but let's go and get that revive real quick, and then it falls into this.
Furia, they're moving in from the north as well. They've actually crossed over, so they could come and third party onto this. They're just a little bit out of range to see it on your screen, but again, on that map feed, they've got onto the beach, and they hear these shots. They're looking to third party. Flood, he's sending it in, goes to the seat swap, tries to find the damage, but he just can't do it. And 55, they're heading straight towards Furia.
Yes, I want these kills. I don't want DM to be able to take them away, but I do wonder how far is Flood going to go. There's going to be Furia that cleans it all up. 55 are eliminated. First place in Rondo. 14th on Erangel. Not able to really convert the momentum into a second good round for them. Still, they're currently top 8.
And they got a crate. Demostro. Looking down towards Bestia. Can he land some nutty Dragonov shots? I think it's just outside that one-tap range for the Dragonov, but it still does a lot of damage. It's AKA, they're going for the seat swaps, over up to 4 HP. Is that a BRDM? Yes, it is, I think.
Yes,
everyone is sent into it. They are using so much ammo to try and take it out of the fight.
Luminosity's not even in the lobby. It looks like you can still expect to see a BRDM on Erangel. Fighting in the blue, where is this? All the way north of Lipovka. I have to imagine this is a fight of circumstance. Gatekeeping this crossdown from Stalber. I don't know if that was a good play that I'd recommend, but teams are seat swapping regardless. Continuing to go for this fight. Ravenclaw with 1 kill, 3 standing. Studio Junior still on the chase. They want to keep getting more. AKA takes quite a few members of 4 Happy Men's out of the round, at least temporarily. And that's going to be actually a full annihilation.
What is going on up here? This is such a messy fight. I mean, I guess if you're a team that drops star, but you see a circle like this, then yeah, you might be inclined to go for the kill points, but I swear, it was either one of those 4-0 players or one of the Ravenclaw players. Didn't even have a scope. Someone was rocking an M16 as the long-range gun, which, hey, I rate it, but is it the gun that you want to be taking that fight with? I don't know. No Lego, they're also making a late rotate in. Looks like there's only 2 of them on the map for the time being. Not sure whether they lost players early, but for nothing, they're still committing onto this. Ravenclaw have crashed the building, but for nothing now hold. Sweezy moves back to get over to his teammate, but yeah, this is just not great for either of these teams.
I don't even care about these teams. Look at the circle.
Oh yeah, I just noticed the circle.
Look at the circle. This
called
isn't
it.
good.
North shift. Said it as soon as phase 1 popped.
This isn't good for anyone.
It's Players Tour.
This is Players Tour.
Look, you guys should be used to this by now. I warn everyone every week when we see one of these circles pop. I say, it's going to go 50-50, and then look what happens. And nobody believes me, and everyone commits down to Millie. And now you know what's going to happen next. Someone's going to get ran over by the ferry again.
Oh, one can only hope. Aki with the spray. A little bit of damage on the Sweezy. At this point, though, this is such a good opportunity. You would think that initially these teams, they're not worried about getting onto Sosnovka. They know they're coming in last. But with the shift to the north, suddenly the center is open. It's going to be so much difficult for the teams that are already on Sosnovka to get back over to the north across that bridge when they can just make a break for it. But it's so tantalizing having a team right in front of you. I can understand the temptation to continue the fight. But if you think of the bigger picture, you really do want to be chasing down farm before other teams like AKA and No Way get there first. But no, they're sticking to the fight.
May as well try and clean it up. Get the points if they've identified that it is a solo. Nade, wrong side of the door. now for nothing. They're sending a player back in to try and support onto this one now. Sweezy actually lands the seat swap onto Aki, but Lionel able to trade it. And, I mean, regardless of which team comes out on top, you can't think they're going to do too well. I'm really interested in the loot that Ravenclaw have right now, by the way. We got the MP5K orb combo. It doesn't work out this time, but yeah, just so many questions to ask today. Team Mirror, they've now committed onto no Lego in one of the few compounds inside the circle. Most teams have made their way up to the north, but there's still 3 squads down in Novo.
I don't know where Team Mirror came from. I saw the Lego arrive here in Snake. It must have been, because they're suddenly here. Like teleported right on top of NL. Making a statement, grabbing a good position. I don't know if they're going to be so eager to cross and take out the entirety of NL. You know, at some point there are going to be teams in the mix third-partying up. Since we're getting to the end of phase 2. But Sam Crow with the knock and a kill on Afaku Bilalba. DM only 2 players remaining. 3 kills from the assault that they provided onto 55. But now the blue at their back, rushing through Novo now. Kali, the last member remaining of NIN, but still potentially gatekeeping the remainder of the cross from DM.
I do want to quickly point out as well, I think Bestia took the ferry that went down to the south. They spent so long on that, they've now got into the ferry pier on the south of Sosnovka, and now they're having to use an EP to move all the way back up. That is a brutal rotation for them. And now they have to try and find a spot to land, and what a hard shift over to the east. Maybe they go for Milta.
At this point, yeah. But I do think Lopez's position is the best. You can see him already taking some shots with Bestia in the sky, trying to convince Bestia that there is a team here rather than just a solo, because Lopez's remaining teammate, Sam Crow, is stuck here in this Novo fight that's still out in the blue. Posta chasing down the parachutes. Decide to turn away. Don't want to commit to that. They're still in a good enough position.
Finding damage, but
look at Mira now.
Fakesin is moving in. Yeah, this is huge from Team Mirror. Flashbangs come out, but Kawazin's got the nade in hand. That might be enough to get the knock. No, just a little bit far. Fana jumps through the window. Furia now closing back up. Everyone from Mirror's congested onto this as well, so it's a 4v4 fight. Gazira takes down Fana, but he's nearly traded out in return. Finds Fakesin, though. Huge plays from Gazira. Makes it a third, and Kawazin cleans up. It's Furia with 7 kills. Somehow defending, but this is like a dinner bell for potentially dangerous over on the west.
They're swinging in, but are they here in time for the full collapse? They can get another knock with the headshot. Glock almost gets it done, but I think they're just going to resign themselves to a position here in Shark Tooth. Not a bad position, all things considering. And that's going to give Furia a bit more safety. And yep, I saw the shadow and I got a little shock too that someone was parachuting. But no, it's just a crate. What do they get?
We got Lynx. This could be huge, actually, if he's able to isolate players in those windows. 3 gear is the real draw for a lot of these players. You never know when you're going to get cracked in the head and one-shotted. So PD, they're going to be happy with that one, happy with the position. They just need to start thinking about next steps, because this is a brutal circle, and it's almost certain to hard shift up to the north. But, I mean, with the circles we've seen in this match, I'm not ruling anything out.
Still fighting in Novo. Kali is still alive. DM are trying to go for a blue chip respawn. This is deep into the blue and also just quite deep into the game, and with a lot of water in play as well. The respawned players, where are they going to get loot? I guess they could also themselves land in Milta.
I think this is more for scouting than it is for loot.
Yeah,
I think that they have so little info on what's going up to the north that they might actually just try and call this player back in just to see what positions are free to try and make a rotate. Hope that there's a boat over in Novo still.
I suppose, but then there's a sacrifice of a point that could come into factor later on. We're still in, the first half of this weekend's tournament. That's more of a consideration for game 7 or 8.
In this farm position is probably going to be very powerful on this next shift as we get ready for it. See where it's going to go, but I mean, if it goes up to the north like we're expecting, yep, farm is looking really strong, so they may need to deal with those final 2 from 4-0, and it looks like that respawn will come in. info will be gathered. Yeah, they've spotted out that Milter's free, so why not try and loot it?
Really huge respawn coming out from 4-0, getting all 4 back up. They don't have a lot of time to loot, though. Even if Milta is as free as it is, they still don't have that much time. Also, note, DM did decide to take the ferry.
What?
So they're going to be deep in the blue for quite a bit longer. And what? Where are the bandits from? Were they still in Sosnovka the whole time? Oh, and now another knock from the blue, but another knock from Bestia as they take the fight against Furia. Kawazine stolen by Glock's Lynx. Oh, that is a strong drape of canvas.
Zera, oh, that nade could be perfect. Oh, but Flood gets away just in time. A second BZ will land through, and surely this is at least going to force him out of position. Yes, it does. Play in the back of the building now. So many BZ nades, but oh, DZ catches him. The long-range headshots. Down goes Gazira. I mean, there's 8 kills on the board for Furia, but they need to be concerned not only with the players inside the compound, but the other team ready to move around as well. Vinny trying his best to survive as Poser goes down. There's only going to be 2 standing from Bestia. They need to try and get the revive. And, I mean, if I'm potentially dangerous, you see this squad's weakened, it might be worth trying to readjust and get involved onto this.
NIN do go down. Aliav finally takes Kali out into the Shadow Realm. And AKN with the best position in the circle. Close enough to center, to call it that. Southern Edge of Farm. 5 kills for them, and they're looking to find more targets. 7 teams, 24 alive. We're just 1 team elimination away from placement points.
Should point out, by the way, DM, they did manage to make it through. They actually had a player knocked earlier on when they were down in Novo. They thought that by loading him onto the boat, they might be able to make it in time, but that was not the case. They're going to be playing as a 3-man, and ultimately, because they took that boat, they don't have a vehicle. They're currently playing the gas station kind of Milt the Cliff split, but it's going to be a very difficult rotate for them to get in, especially if a team like 4-0 decide to move over down to the south a bit more. But for the time being, no Lego. They're going to be happy holding this spot. We'll see what the next phase holds, though.
Ooh, pretty hard shift out of the southwest. Now suddenly PD are in the prime position, but with so many compounds that are still in play, especially on the south side, it's not going to be the most oppressive position. In fact, they actually are going to be leaving it up to Bestia to have the first crack at teams that push in from the east side. 4-0 could be pushing in through farm on the north. And then DM, they might just be able to wedge their way in. Coming in from that gas station on the south. I think No Way is the team that is the biggest cross in front of them, but Glock with a nice headshot on to Vinny. I don't think this is going to be something that they're going to push off of. But still, damage is damage. Do have to wonder if that was worthwhile use of the very limited Lynx ammunition.
Still a helmet gone.
Still, true.
Just weakening them up. It makes those DMR shots easier to connect with if you can find the headshot for nothing. They lose 1 on the push, but they got themselves a dip to work with, and they still have 4 players up, so it looks like they actually made the most out of that respawn beacon, calling in the blue chips. They were able to loot Milter. Remember, all that loot is kind of cranked up when we're in ranked and esports mode, so they should, in theory, have enough to stand a decent chance in this game. Samcro's still looking out, though. Just for nothing. Can't stay in this spot. That zone is moving in. We're in phase 5, so yeah, it doesn't exactly tickle at this point.
No, it's actually quite a bit of damage. 4-0 going to have to be running directly in front of it. They have a vehicle. They have a couple of vehicles, actually. One pair is quite far ahead of the first one, and that's going to be Sweeney going down. Jimu stopping a bit short, but still gets dropped by another great shot by Samcro. Infinite now goes down. It's 1 member left for 4-0. It's Scampro rushing forward, looking to get not just the revive on Lopez, but also finding the final shot on the 4-0, but they get eliminated. I think DM are about to go up in smoke as well. It's only a couple of them. Oh yeah, they're actually fully eliminated themselves. Good defend by Bestia on the potential push coming out of that. Now we're looking at the top 5 teams. Placement points have been activated.
It's a tricky circle though, especially if you're NW. Especially get caught with more headshots like that. Samcro going down. Lopez didn't even get time to pop the heel. And he's still looking out. The vehicle is out of the equation. So now we just wait to see how this circle pops. So many teams went down so early, and that's in no small part to the circle. And now 3 teams have to try and make a rotation over towards potentially dangerous and Bestia. Vinny looking out. Trying to take out yet another vehicle. Maybe find a headshot. But right now for NW, I think they've got a lot of worries on their mind.
Circle continues to favor PD and especially Bestia. Just the nature of the zone, the nature of the circles. Down to Salznovka, haha, just kidding, back up to the north. Kills are a lot more spread out this time, it seems. Lopez taking some blue damage to get some extra loot. They're going to need every single piece of utility that they can get. Smokes especially. Try and cross and get to that next set of trees in front of them. But just the angles that are found by Bestia, by AKA. It's looking like every single step they take, it just... some extra bit of their body becomes vulnerable to another angle and they get shot.
Lopez throws down the smokes. I think the plan is to try and use this Dacia without getting headshot. Smoke wall goes down. He's still got 6 in reserve. Clearly know what he's been looting off of those bodies. Samcro sends it. The smokes are not going to be enough. The vehicle itself is smoking. And Mime, the one to get the knock. His teammate now tries to crosses. What are AKA doing? They are just sending it in. Their vehicle's about to blow as well. So Mime going to try and find even more. It's Vinny this time, though, that gets the opening knock, supported by Flood to find a second. And AKA have just taken the ridge that I think NW were trying to gain control of. Vinny just wants to finish off this final player, though.
That was the only real safe path for AKA to make their way in, and they still lose 2. What can Lopez do now? Trying to avoid the shots of Bestia. Knows that it's AKA right in front of them, but this grenade and a couple of shots from an AUG with Lopez's name on it. Top 4, 4v4v, maybe 3v3. See if that revive comes into play. Bestia are running out in the open. We know how thirsty they are. We know how thirsty especially Mime can be to really get these kills. Such a dynamic player. Always there to catch teams off guard. Never expect where he's going to pop up.
Oh, the C4. I see a C4. I see potentially dangerous. Getting ready to find that cross from Bestia as Mime using the smokes for cover. The nade could be huge, but he needs to get into rage. He's only got 1 left. They're spraying the smoke. They might be able to find the knock. Just about gets behind the ridge in time. Bestia look to return the fire. Nightavon takes down Martin. Oh, no, look. I saw the C4. I saw the UAS. Time to make the play onto PD.
Martin gets confirmed. Gets bleeding out. Yeah, that really does seem to be the only play for NL here. Is a C4 Dacia send. Otherwise, I can't foresee any real ability for either of these teams, NL or AKA, to get into Bestia or PD. Because even if they can get a knock on one of those teams and send behind it, there's going to be the other squad in the compound with fire of their own.
At least we're all on the same page here. They got 3 vehicles.
Yep.
C4 is being deployed. Surely it goes to PD. They can't make it all the way to Bestia. I mean, they could try for AKA. They're going to be lucky if Sukiro does not get spotted out, but this might be it. In goes the C4. Tony Gabriel finish off the player. The vehicle's about to blow, but so does the C4. Takes down Tony. It's Gabri taken down by Vinny. Now there's only 2 left up from PD. They've still got players to navigate, though, as NL got a car of their own. Faravero, the final player left up, spots out Nightavon. Will he be able to get the knock? Surely not. Nightavon clutches out, and it's 8 kills for PD, somehow surviving the C4 ambush.
Hero play from Nightavon. Covered the follow-up push with the team was on the revive. They might have lost Tony, but now with the North taken care of, potentially dangerous, can focus on Bestia and AKA. Limit is the threat angles that they need to be aware of. AKA also with 8 kills. Peeking out the side. These hay bales. AKA need to get to the zone. They have a small little foothold there. Nanu is there on the backside trying to grab the coop, but he's going to get shot out of it. Great firing by Vinny and Silly Mode to get the knock and the full confirmation of that kill point. And still 6 bullets left for this Link. This Glock gonna go ham at the end here.
You're just waiting for those AKA players to have to expose themselves. As of now, I mean, I wouldn't say they're comfortable, but at least they've got some form of safety.
Yeah.
Blood.
Well,
Peeks out for the nade. It's easy. Actually finds another. The nade, though, takes down the hay bale. The shield up a little bit too late. Mime finds the headshot. An AKA down to just a solo. PD have a player knocked. Should be able to find the revive, but they need to start getting aggressive pretty quickly here. That Lynx could be detrimental to Mime on the roof if they can find the angle.
they're just looking for one last player. FaZe did marginally edge to the east. But I think Bestia would have been in the best position regardless of how far FaZe went one way or the other. Because again, it is quite limited on how far it can go. No hard shifts late in this game. Ooh, second still misses! That one looked dead on!
Thought it was going to happen, but seemingly not. As Vinny takes down Nightavon. Both teams with great weapons here. Which one will come out on top? That's why I'm still being cautious. Knows there's an AKA player. Doesn't know exactly where. PD try and find themselves the revive. Still just outside of the circle. I'm not sure whether they even have a ridge to play ahead of them right now. I think the favorites have got to be Bestia. They don't have to move. They just need to finish off Doodoo Gladiator. They might just be able to with a second Molotov. And it connects.
Yeah, it's going to spread out. I should be taking Gladiator down. Oh, just barely outside of the spread range of that. Smoke and play. Grenade goes out. I don't think it's going to make it to the roof. But watch Silly Mode also hold the backside. That leaves Vinny up as the last solo player to hold potentially dangerous push. And that is a Banzer being brought in. Knock, knock, who's there? Gabriel's trying to push on in, but does go down before can let that Panzer really provide his explosive power onto the doorstep of Bestia. Now only 2 left. Smokes are starting to run out.
PD cleared out another angle. It's AKA that are down. Nightavon using the hay bale. He needs to get over to this emergency cover. And yeah, he really needs to, because that hay bale, it's caught fire. That's going to be the end of him. Glock tries to land something with the Lynx, but it's just going to deny the points. Mime still trying to find an angle, but it's not going to be enough. And it's Bestia who get themselves the win with 9 kills. And what a performance from Bestia this evening. Consistently making it to the top 4. Consistently getting 10+ kills. And that was a really, really strong showing from them. I think that Flood being on that roster has made a huge difference. And I think that's been noticeable since he started playing with Bestia. Whether that's permanent or not, only time will tell.
Yeah, and, you know, Mime looks to be in a lot more moments that you can see the old Mime come into action. Really dynamic plays alongside the Flood dynamism that you can see. So excited to see what this roster can continue to do, not just this weekend, but also going forward for the rest of the season. Of course, we have to see where the roster really, you know, where it truly lands. But man, what a final game. What a final collection of zones. Completely wild. For Bestia's win, They executed the end game very, very well. You have to admit that they were given quite a bit of luck at the end, but getting this position, that was not luck at all. They did have to fight for that spot up against Furia. It was only cleanup from there that they had an advantage, but still the execution in this game for Bestia and this day as a whole was very well done.
Yeah, really, really impressive from Bestia today. And what a final game that was. We can't not talk about the zone, can we? It started off, it was clearly going to Sosnovka, but there was always that chance. And as is the way with the Players Tour, we get the circle that nobody expects. Everyone had to rotate back up to the north. So many EPs, boats, everything being used. And it led to a very interesting endgame where the majority of teams had already been taken out fighting over down on the south, but it's Bestia that came out on top with 19 points, potentially dangerous, aka also putting up some serious numbers, and aka really needed them, so that will be a big boost to them, should get them into the top 8.
Yeah, 8 kill points for Furia too. Furia have been a bit silent killers this evening. They're not in a terrible position on the leaderboard, and we've seen quite a good number of good fights from them, but their performance does pale against especially Bestia, but also Team Mira, who, by the way, this is probably Team Mira's worst performance I've ever seen out of them. But then when you go back and you remember what the circle looked like, can't really blame them.
No, you can't, but they're still up there in second, and it's Bestia that are starting to grow out that lead as we get to the halfway point of the Players Cup. There's still 4 more games for Mira to close that gap, but don't forget, it's the top 8 that makes all the difference. The top 8 will qualify through to that Masters with the $20,000 prize pool, and then anyone who's outside that top 8, well, you've got to go all through that process again, qualify for the Players Cup, and then qualify for the Masters when a bunch of the teams, the regional partner teams, are going to be back in, which will make it so much tougher.
For Happy Men's, I saw them in like 6th or 7th place, I think, going into the last game, but they struggled. Enough teams that were in contention for breaking into the top 8 did good enough, overtook them again. I don't know why. Godspeed and I last week and kind of just subconsciously picked For Happy Men's as our sort of underdog, everyman hero. So I have to admit a little bit of bias to see them perform.
Just the NA bias.
Listen. It would be really exciting to see their growth from the first cup that we saw them in and to qualify into Masters 3 is all I'm saying. But here is a team summary. Total kills still going to go the way of Mira, even if they're not in first place. But damage, that is going to be Bestia. A big hallmark of a team is the damage to kill conversion. But even looking at that, you still, we have to acknowledge Bestia played a really, really good evening of PUBG.
Yeah, but look at that from No Look as well. They're also a team that we've not seen anything out of before. Well, we have seen the players, but not under this roster. 22 kills and making it to the late game consistently, so
True.
really strong from them. In terms of the player summary, though, it's Flood. We spoke about him earlier. He stole the show in terms of damage, and also getting up there on the kill stats as well.
But again, that's wild. Silly Mode, 1st in damage, 5th in kills. Mimed, 2nd in damage, not top 5 in kills. But they're all up in the KDA, or at least 3 members of Bestia are. So a bit of ping-ponging all around in the player stats. This is not something that I'm used to seeing so much.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think this is the worst performance we've seen from Mira in terms of like the player summaries that we see the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, that's not by any way to say that they played badly. It's just the standard that we've seen out of them is so consistently high. The rate that they're going, they're still going to qualify for the Masters, so maybe they're just saving themselves a little bit. But when we say that, we got to remember Team Mira, even when they qualify for the Masters, they still come back for the next Players Cup just to compete for that cash in the top 4, and they pretty much always get it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, this is one of the easier lobbies that you can expect to see in the Players Cup. There's a couple of big dogs missing from the lobby, but hey, we'll see if they're back next weekend. But we're not even at that weekend. Remember, guys, if you want to qualify then, if you really want to compete against those names, trying to make your own way into Masters 3, hashtag, exclamation point, the other sign, exclamation point, register to get involved yourself. But with that being said, I believe this is going to be us signing off for the night. We will see you at the same time to run this back, one more series of 4 games to see who's going to qualify from this cup into Masters number 3.